What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ.
And I'm Diggins.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woohoo!
Woo! Yeah, woo!
This week, we are starting the Road to Scoob, our 3-episode series, if you include the one about Scoob. The movie that is going to come out that I think, honestly, I forgot about. I had forgotten about it up until I watched the first one of these. I was like, oh, yeah, that's what we're doing.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about all movies entirely. I was going through the Amazon thing that was like movies. I'm like, oh, yeah, remember Bloodshot? Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, man, guys, remember Bloodshot? Do you know it's based on a 90s comic book?
I do, and it's supposed to be pretty, 90s-y comic book, but some people like it. Have you read it?
I haven't read it, but I know what the plot is, and yeah, it's 90s as hell.
Yeah, I love it. Good 90s. I mean, this is kind of 90s as hell. It's 2000s-y, but it's very much set in its time.
Gentle listeners, we have on many occasions called movies on this podcast very early 2000s, but it has never been more true than it is right now.
It's the most early 2000s movie we've ever done.
Absolutely.
The moistness of the hair on display here.
Oh, God, yeah.
The frosted tips aplenty.
With rays, sugared and not. Too much ray.
The music in this movie is incredible because it's everywhere. It's like in the middle of scenes behind their lines. It's chef's kiss. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I don't want to think. Well, we'll talk about it. But so we're doing Scoob. I don't know. We're doing Scooby Doo 2002. I feel like Scoob. Remember when Trolls World Tour came out and everyone was like, "Oh, thank God, Trolls! Yes, a movie." I don't feel that with Scoob. And obviously, it's a week and a change away, but still, I don't know. Expected more of a reaction.
I think we're deeper into this now, and because Trolls was in the universe of, a movie that will come out in theaters. Oh, we'll get to see it. And I know Scoob is the same thing, but you might have had your tickets for Trolls World Tour. Your kids were ready to go, but now it's so far into the quarantine and theaters have been closed, for so long. It's just kind of, any new movie is just going to have this kind of feeling of, oh, well, okay. Unless we get Mulan, if they decide to drop that shit, which I doubt, but that might feel a movie.
Not in a million. I think Mulan's the last one they'll drop.
After the success of Trolls, do you think we're only going to be getting children's movies until this is over?
I hope not.
I hope not, too. Although, what's the other one? Well, I got Artemis Fowl, Trolls,
Scoob,
potentially New Mutants, which isn't a children's movie, but it's about children. Everybody's somebody's children.
Was that Peter Rabbit movie? Was that slated to come out over the summer?
That's insane if it was. But maybe.
I remember seeing the trailers for it because there was a time where there was a lot of talking animals trailers all at once.
Yeah.
It was like Dr. Dolittle, Scoob, Peter Rabbit, just all these talking animal
I feel like
trailers.
Peter Rabbit feels like a springtime movie,
Did we just miss it entirely? Did I miss the Peter Rabbit rush, guys? No,
we
not
missed
Peter Rabbit, the worst casualty of all.
Oh no,
that's another James Corden vehicle that he snuck into.
Part of his blood contract with the Hollywood studios.
Yeah, he wasn't in this, thank God.
I'm gonna look up Peter Rabbit real quick.
Well, it was before they signed that dark pact.
Yeah. What did I see? I saw him in something recently. It might have been a dream.
Whatever
God. It is, I know it was terrifying. Whatever it was, it was quite upsetting. He is Peter Rabbit in the Peter Rabbit movies. He's in Late Show. God, what was it? I don't know. Oh, I guess this is him as himself. I want him as actor. I don't know.
So Peter Rabbit's not slated to come out until January 2021, and that's not a pushback date. They just released the trailers a year ahead of time. So,
Nice.
They got to get that viral marketing out early. Ha 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 ha
ha ha.
So, guys, this week we're talking about Scooby Doo 2002. Guys, this is going to be a weird one. There's some things we can't spoil that are spoilable. So we won't spoil them.
I feel like people have seen this movie by now, right? Is there anyone who hasn't seen this movie? Audience, please raise your hands at home so we can look.
Everybody I've talked to did not remember the end of it.
Oh, curious. Okay, fair enough.
I feel like the ending was one of the only things I did remember.
Same.
But I think there's other people that don't remember it. But yes, I agree.
Okay.
Okay. It's very good. It's a very good movie. It set like this. Where did this come out in terms of like one live action animal movies? You know,
What else
like
did we have, do you mean?
yeah, like so you had your Rocky and Bullwinkle. Although that's not one live action, but you know what I mean. Completely CGI cartoon character in the real world. There were a bunch of those movies for a while. They did the Looney Tunes one.
I feel like Scooby Doo was one of the first ones because that feels like the property that you start with, you know?
I do too. I mean, there's no way whatever they started with was going to work, but yeah, I think you're right. And
I mean, it worked
to be
financially.
fair, it wasn't terrible, the Scooby-Doo animation.
For 02, it was pretty good.
I don't know about that. I don't know that I can sign on to the Scooby Doo animation. This movie looks good.
Really, even like for the time, like in context, like
even for the time. Oh boy.
Okay.
I think it looks fine. I think it gets the character of Scooby-Doo in a way that is, I mean, I think it's better than like the original Sonic movie where it's just like we're going to make a realistic cool one. I think it's a pretty good mix of like realistic and cartoony.
Well, it's easier when it's a dog. Like it's a bit easier.
That's
like
true.
He's just a dog, right? He's not like Sonic's a bipedal hedgehog.
I don't know what
blue.
Scooby-Doo is. That's a great question.
He's a Great Dane.
Yeah, he's a Great Dane.
Right, but like, is he though?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd say so.
He does
I
bipedal.
think he's
walks...
the best Dane.
That's true.
Aw, Diggins.
I don't know. I think of one Dane that's a little bit better. We'll get to him.
Okay.
But I think that there's a lot about Scooby-Doo. I think there's a lot about this movie that is almost kind of charming. And there's a lot about this movie that's like, yeah, I know, this is how you do a franchise reboot. This one, it's like they all have to make fun of all the things that they are. Oh, damsels in distress, not anymore. Oh, you're the handsome one, but you got plans. And it's like, do you think a kid that didn't know Scooby-Doo would enjoy this at all?
That was my question. I wasn't sure. Like, if this movie was your introduction into Scooby-Doo, then oh boy.
Yeah.
Not great.
But how many people do you think that is?
Oh, man, I don't know.
Do you think
Probably
kids these
not
days
a
are aware
lot.
of Scooby-Doo?
I don't know about these days, but like in the times that this movie came out, speaking from personal experience, this was a time in which Scooby-Doo reruns played constantly on like all the children's networks.
Truth.
So it was very difficult to be a child who watched TV and not know who Scooby-Doo was.
That's a good point. Did you... So we'll talk about this spoilers, but first we'll get kind of a general sense. Diggins, I think last week in an episode, like, you may have said that you are a big fan of Scooby-Doo, or was as a child. Can you expound upon that a bit?
Well, as I said, it was almost impossible not to be watching Scooby-Doo reruns constantly, at least in my experience as a child. So I watched a lot of both the older Scooby-Doo cartoons, like the 70s and 60s ones, the originals, where they're like palling around with Don Knotts and whatnot.
Yeah, Don fucking Knotts.
But then also the newer stuff, your Pup Named Scooby-Doos, your What's New Scooby-Doos, and so on and such forth. So it was just something I always, as a child me, just really liked all the different flavors of Scooby-Doo on hand. Like, I found there's something charming about every iteration of the character, possibly because Scooby himself is so unchanging. Scooby-Doo is basically the same exact character he always was. It's just kind of the others that develop over time, and that's kind of fascinating to me, thinking about it right now. But kid me was just like, dog is scared is funny.
I love how they eat all the crazy food.
Yeah. That sandwich is too big for he mouth.
and he says things, but they're not the way you expect. You still know what he's saying, but it's still kind of messy. I mean, more so in this than in the new one, it seems like. But like, he's got his weird little Scooby-Doo accent.
Right, but everyone still understands him. Or
yeah,
do
except
they?
for when he goes like full dog. That was a little confusing to me. But
yeah, when he
I don't
barks, like, oh, it's a dog barking.
That's why I'm like, what is Scooby-Doo? Because there's cats and dogs in this universe. People
now that is a thing. Even in the old cartoons, when Scooby saw a cat, he would act like a normal dog and not like it.
That's a problem for him.
Yeah.
I can see causing fun dramatic circumstances. So go for it.
There were a couple things in this in the movie that I was like, oh, that's weird that they're doing that. And then I was reminded, oh, yeah, the show did that. Like when Shaggy and Scooby are eating like the weird food, I'm like, oh, yeah, they ate weird food. Like, I have to remind myself of that.
That's
are
entirely faithful.
Yeah.
You remember all the farting they did? Oh, the farting.
No, that was awful.
That was
Okay,
great.
yeah.
I loved it. Yeah.
Less
Guys,
of a fan.
I don't want to spoil farting for people. Let's just say there's some farting in this movie. More than in the Sonic movie somehow.
James Gunn loves farting. Apparently.
Although there was
farting.
There was a non-zero amount of farting in the Sonic movie, though. We have to remember that.
Oh yeah, no, there
true.
was and it was like a chili dog induced fart, which was a good fart. Like, but this was next level. I don't think there'll ever be a bigger fart in a movie.
Wow.
Right?
Ever. Even in Paul Blart Mall Cop. I've never seen it, but I assume there's farts.
I'm assuming as well. Probably the grown-ups movies. Wherever Kevin James hangs his hat, the farts are soon to follow.
What about
it's an old Irish
in
phrase.
Thunderpants?
What's that?
Thunderpants is a movie about a child who farts so deeply and heinously that it gives him superpowers.
Whoa,
Is that a prequel
really?
to this?
That's a real. I'm not making that up. That's a real movie.
Damn.
Also a James Gunn production, probably.
Possibly. I haven't
Got
checked.
his stamp of approval. He loves it. He loves it. And you know what? Listen, okay. Well, we'll have to add some other questions. But so, Diggins, you've got a good knowledge of Scooby Doo. DJ, where were you on Scooby Doo?
Like, same thing Diggins was saying, to where it was hard to avoid at the time, but I don't know. I don't recall having, such a fondness for it. Not like, like, oh, it sucked. I just like, it was like, oh, this is cool. I do weirdly remember watching a lot of A Pup Named Scooby Doo. It was probably just on, like, at the time, and I'm like, this is a thing. But I think there's a consistency to it where it was always good. Like, how sitcoms have a formula, Scooby Doo always just, like, had a formula that it stuck to, and it's like, oh, this is good and fun and enjoyable, and
Yeah.
I just kind of liked it.
And it had a fun, like, so it's Hanna-Barbera-y, obviously. It's one of the quintessential Hanna-Barberas.
Probably their most popular cartoon.
Yeah, and it was very, like, that animation lent itself to, like, fun monster designs and stuff like that. So I enjoyed the Scooby-Doo gang and all their nonsense, but I also enjoyed, like, the monsters. Also, I remember Cartoon Network really went in on Scooby-Doo for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Like, really, really hard. And I think that's when I kind of got into them. Was, like, it was, like, one of their big properties alongside, like, Dexter's Laboratory and stuff that was, like, currently being, you know what I mean? Like, brand new stuff. It was like that, and then also Scooby-Doo. And there was new Scooby-Doo, but it was also, like, old Scooby-Doo.
And listen, that Cartoon Network loyalty paid off, because there's a goddamn Powerpuff Girls reference in this movie.
That's right, there is.
Oh, boy, there sure is.
There are some weird things that, like, really date the movie to its time. Actually, there's a lot of things.
Like the moist hair.
And it's also interesting because, like, Mystery Inc. themselves, like, they're a product of a certain time, and they don't really change. Like Daphne wears, like, platform shoes, and Shaggy's got the whole, yeah, man, that's not really our bag, man. Like, no one says that.
I say that. I'm trying to bring it back, guys. Let's say
Nando
bag again.
Nando says that all the time. It's
I
true.
do. I say bag, I say groovy, I say dig it. We're going back to the 70s, guys.
Oh man,
Or
but
whatever.
if you like making fun of kids slang, oh boy, you're gonna have a great
jeez.
time with this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
did the writers of this movie hate kids? Because or at least, like, college-age students? Because at some point it really felt like it.
I think
I don't
actually
think
a more
they knew
accurate.
what they were.
I was gonna say, I think a more accurate way to say this would be if you like making fun of what you think kid slang is.
All right, sure.
Yeah. I'm very questioning. I question heavily having seen this movie. Well, I guess, like, but it was, they knew what kids slang was enough to know what it wasn't, you know?
Yes.
So
They didn't say anything that I was like, that's made up. That's not real. Like, they were all over-exaggerated things of...
yeah, and they were like, this sounds stupid, but it wasn't like things that didn't sound stupid. They sounded stupid.
I think at one point Fred says biatch. I'm like, oh my god.
When does he say biatch? I love that.
Oh, it's real early on. Oh man,
'Cause
Am
I
gonna
believe
have
you.
to go watch this movie and find it. Hold on.
No, it's okay.
You're definitely right, but I can't remember the context.
I think it's like when they're all meeting the people on Spooky Island, where it's all like, yeah, I'm gonna say hi to this biatch. And Daphne goes, "Oh my god."
You sure it's not when he's bad?
No, it's not when he's bad. Oh, no, it is when he's bad.
Okay.
Here we go. I found it.
Can you play it?
Yeah, it's... Well, all right, I'm going to try the thing where
do that thing that I did that almost worked, but didn't really.
All right, I hope this works. I'm going to look at my... All right, okay. This is from YouTube, so it's still illegal. All right, hold on. Did you guys hear that?
Not even kind of.
yes. I remember this now.
I do it a little bit higher.
All right, wait, hold on.
Like, really crank that volume, Soldier Boy.
This is just fantastic audio right here.
We're going to edit this. Oh.
It's fine. All
right, hold on.
We're not going to edit it, and you know it. Listener, you're hearing me say this right now, which means it wasn't edited.
We?
Yo, the biatch was like, what? And I was like,
Oh, yeah, he's doing fake bad guy.
No, that's
Oh,
when
is
he's
that real
the
bad
actual bad guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's the 20 seconds between them introducing the mystery of like what happened to these people and revealing what happened to these people,
Yeah.
which we'll get to.
So, okay. So the bit where so there's the bit where all of this. Well, no. Let's take one step back. So, okay. Sorry, I have to sneeze. A normal, healthy sneeze.
Totally normal sneeze.
I'm one of those people who looks at light and sneezes.
Yo, that's a real thing. Wait, it's the sun though.
I can do it with light.
Really?
I guess it's mostly about tipping your head up. That's the big. That's
Yes,
the big part
yes.
Of it.
Oh my God, Nando! Have we never talked about this before?
No.
Michelle thinks I'm a liar. I tell her this is a thing, and I'm like, it's a real thing. A third of the population has it. Oh my God! She
Mostly
thinks I'm a
white
liar.
people, I think, too.
Really? Wow.
I've read that. Yeah.
Oh my God!
Not
To
that
be
that
fair,
matters, but just that's a fun little thing about it.
You are a liar. It's just not about
That's
this.
fair. Yeah.
Diggins, do you know what this thing is?
Yeah, I know about this.
Oh, I feel liberated. I gotta get you guys to talk to Michelle because anyway.
When Michelle asks, I will lie and say that it's not a thing.
I hate you so much.
So it's called the photic sneeze reference.
Yes.
Also known as photosnesia, is a reflex common or condition that causes sneezing in response to numerous stimuli such as looking at bright lights or periocular surrounding the eyeballs injection. It affects 18 to 35% of the world's population.
There we go. Thank you. I
Yeah.
feel vindicated.
So there you go.
Listeners, if you have this, at me. I need that proof.
I mean, what else do we need? I think we got it. I just said a guy, or there's guys that have said it and did all the research.
That's true. So.
I mean, DJ looks up for all the
At
facts.
me anyway.
He wants to hear both sides of the argument. Does this happen or not? At DJ, here's what we want. At Zippy by Day, let us know if you do this specifically. So just send a yes or a no to DJ at Zippy by Day.
Yes, thank you.
Because then he'll know. Okay, also, just so it's comprehensive numbers didn't exist. The best estimate suggests that 15 to 30% of humans have this trait, may be more common among some ethnic backgrounds than others. One survey found that 28% of white males and 16% of white females had it. The largest survey of around 500 blood donors in Sweden came up with a figure around 20%. But photonic sneezing is thought to be a lot less prevalent among African Americans. The best estimate is about 2% of the population. So who knows why, but that is a fact about it. Isn't that something?
So how many members of the Scooby Gang do you guys think have photonic sneezing?
Good chance, at least one.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking.
There's a 50% chance that one of the males has it, and then
So Fred or
the chances that Fred or Shaggy has it is like close to 50%. And the chances that that Velma or Daphne has it is close to 30-ish%.
Well, I don't think Daphne has it because that would in some way make her vulnerable, and that would not be a good part of her character. So I don't think she has it.
Really? I think she's the most vulnerable of all of the mystery inkers.
We're getting a hot take from DJ already. DJ hates the feminist agenda that infects this movie.
Oh,
He
come
wants
on,
his
man.
women
Come
to
on.
get in trouble with ghosts, and that's their whole thing.
DJ thinks
that's what I'm
women
saying.
should stay kidnapped.
Oh my God, that's what I'm saying.
DJ thinks dorks are attractive too. That was my favorite line of the movie, or whatever that line was. The one that Fred says to Velma. That one,
Dorky chicks like you turn me on too.
There's a great line.
God.
Oh my God, that was the best line. Well, that's not true. There's one line that I actually thought was really funny. There's one joke in this movie that I think is a particularly well set up and executed joke, which we will get to. But I think that really made me like giggle. Because you know what? There's a lot of eye rolling in this movie. This movie is mostly eye rolling, and that got a big old eye roll from Velma. But anyway, this is a movie called Scooby Doo 2002. I also have no opinion about Scooby Doo. He's fine. I like him. I like all of them. Who's your favorite member of the Scooby Squad or Scooby Gang or Mystery Inc. or whatever the hell they're called?
I think Shaggy.
I was always very partial to Scooby.
Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of on Diggins' side. I like Scooby. I like Scooby, and I like Velma.
My thing with Shaggy is the self-awareness of being a coward. I appreciate that. Like, he doesn't pretend to be brave. He's like, look, if you give me my goddamn food, I'll do this or whatever. But there's just there's a comfort of self-awareness in Shaggy that I appreciate. That not saying the other members don't have, but he has it the most, I think.
Well, the other members don't think of themselves as cowards. I mean,
No,
they certainly don't want to face down a monster if they don't have to, but
I'm
they
saying
don't
just
conceptualize themselves.
Being very self-aware, I mean. Like, that's more specifically what I was, like, honing in on.
Well,
I think they're all cowards, if you ask me. They won't just join the cult like they're supposed to.
Fred's main character trait these days is being extremely unself-aware.
Yeah, I would say his character trait is, like, I don't know, weird. Like, he just doesn't work.
I feel like in this movie, the Fred of the movie is the least like their original character in the show.
That's also true in general, though. I feel like Fred has changed the most over the years. Mm-hmm. Has adopted being kind of dumb as his main personality trait, as opposed to early on, like at the beginning, he was just like leader man.
I was gonna say that wasn't true in the original show. He wasn't like an idiot. He was just the head guy.
He was just boring.
There.
Like, it was just like, hey,
yeah, that's fair.
I'm the one. Everyone go with me. I'm cool, Fred.
But that was like fine for like old school cartoon writing, right?
Yeah, but I understand why it changed over the years, because they felt like they had to give him something to actually work with.
Sure, yeah.
So hold on. Guys, we all figured out our favorite Scoobies and our favorite other ones. Our favorite that we all like the show. First important question about the movie itself. Did you guys see this movie in theaters?
I believe I did.
I believe so too, but I honestly don't remember if it was like I saw it in movies or I saw it when it like went to TV.
I'm pretty sure I saw it in movie theaters. I probably shouldn't have. I'm sure I didn't react super well to this. I guess I was like 13, so I was probably like, this is funny, I guess. But yeah.
I mean, it's a tight 80-some minutes, so that's great.
True.
Before I could possibly be upset, it's over. It's like, oh, great. Thanks, movie.
Yeah, you know what? That's actually a good point. That's a great point. That they did not make this. If it flows flew by.
Yeah, it doesn't drag too much.
Do you think that children's movies are generally fairly short in deference to the attention span of children, or in deference to the length of time a parent can put up with it?
It's definitely both, but if I had to pick one, I'd say it's the first one. Because even the good ones, the ones that a parent would like to watch, are still short. Incredibles and Beauty and the Beast are like good movies, and they're a tight 90.
I feel like recently they're getting longer. Like, isn't Frozen 2 a like solid 2 hours?
Yeah, and it's bad, so there you go.
I even think
but
like
the
Ralph
first
Breaks the
Frozen,
Internet,
like 90
like
minutes,
2 hours.
boom, in and out.
Second Frozen, boo.
I did not like it.
Well,
they did a really good SNL sketch about it, where at one point Elsa explains the plot, and she's like, "Guys, I think this plot is bad." It's pretty funny. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think there's plenty of kids movies that are longer than others, and some that are shorter. But I don't. I feel like if I was an adult and, you know, Incredibles was great, I'd be down for another half hour. And I think whenever they make a movie like this, they're like, well, let's make something for the adults, you know? Let's throw it a little something for the parents. Because this movie is full of jokes that a child would not get. So I think it's mostly just the kids can't handle anything, you know, regardless of how stimulating and fun it is. Like, they're just kids. That's why you need trolls. Jangly keys, man.
Oh,
Jangly
my God.
Keys.
All day jangle them keys.
But it's okay. So we all saw it in theaters. Let's do this. Let's start here. What do you think the IMDb summary of this movie is? I will go with DJ first. So this is Scooby Doo 2002, starring all the people that you think. All the ones. All the famous Scoobies are back. Fred,
all the
Daphne,
ones you
Shaggy,
love.
Velma, Mondo Marius, Mary Jane, Voodoo Mysteroo. All the good ones.
Oh boy.
So, okay. So, what do you think, DJ? What do you think the IMDb summary for Scooby Doo 2002 is?
After having a falling out after a mystery involving Pamela Anderson.
Oh God. Another extremely early 2000s aspect of this movie.
Loved it. That was so funny.
Mystery Inc. has to reunite and solve the mystery of this spooky island where guests arrive ready to vacation and then leave under mysterious circumstances. That was bad at the end, but
Okay.
I took my
Diggins?
shot.
Scooby Doo, along with his friends Fred, Velma, Shaggy, Daphne, have to solve a mystery on a tropical island. That's it.
So Diggins, you had the right idea, but DJ got some of the right words better.
Pamela Anderson, probably.
Yeah. So here's what it was. After an acrimonious breakup, the Mystery Inc. gang are individually brought to an island resort to investigate strange goings-on. So, like, Diggins's was as short as it should be, but DJ got all the right details. So I'm going to give it to DJ, especially since DJ's also started with after a breakup. That was important.
Damn. DJ just has an innate IMDb sense that I cannot equal.
Because you're smart, Diggins.
DJ, let's look up. We're going to look up a movie.
Oh, okay. All right.
That we have seen, that we haven't done this for yet. I want you, DJ, to tell me what the IMDb summary for this movie was.
This should be a segment we do once a week where we pick a random one that I'm not prepped on.
I want to find one that I'm like, you've seen this, but the IMDb summary is kind of probably a little confusing. We probably won't do it on the show. Okay, DJ, I want to hear what you think the IMDb summary for 2006 is The Prestige is.
Ooh.
Oh no, this is so embarrassing.
Do you know
Have
The
you
Prestige?
never seen
I've never seen The Prestige.
Aw,
Christopher Nolan's best movie.
Probably. Honestly, it's like...
I'm going to
Very,
watch The
very
Prestige now.
All right, I'll find you a
I'm
movie
full
that
of
you have
shame.
seen, but with one of those actors in it. So get
boy.
ready. Get ready for... God damn it. So many of his movies suck. I'm trying to find a good movie with what's his name. You know what? Screw it. Batman Begins. Give me Batman Begins.
Okay. After tragically losing his parents at a young age, Bruce Wayne must find himself as he adventures around the world, learning about himself. He goes back to Gotham to exact vengeance and become Batman, where he finds there is a deep plot to destroy the very city of Gotham. I didn't feel strong about that one.
Just for kicks, Diggins, you want to take a shot?
It's the fucking story of Batman. You guys know what it is.
Dang it.
So DJ was closer, but a little bit off. Yeah, you gave way too much information, even though I don't think you gave too much information, but it doesn't match the IMDb summary, which is, after training with his mentor, Batman begins his fight to free crime-ridden Gotham City from corruption. So,
That's
like, you
so
got
hacky.
it, but a lot of extra details in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so Scooby-Doo, like I said, stars a bunch of 2000s-y people. The whole 2000s is here. You got Freddie Prinze Jr., not Freddie Prinze, different guy, Freddie Prinze Jr., playing Fred. That's fun. I didn't even realize that until now.
He got top billing, so good for him.
I mean, he's the main guy. I think at the time he was probably most famous, maybe tied with Sarah Michelle Gellar. But what is he famous for?
Dude, I don't know.
Let's see, She's All That, Scooby-Doo, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Yeah, so, he had like a thing. You got Freddie Prinze Jr. as Fred. Sarah Michelle Gellar as Daphne. Matthew Lillard as Shaggy. Linda Cardinelli as Velma. They're your main four. It was directed by someone named Raja Gosnell, who also did Big Mama's House, Never Been Kissed, and the Scooby-Doo movie we will be doing next week. So, let's start with DJ, since you won the IMDb thing. What'd you think of this movie? What'd you think of Scooby-Doo 2002?
I think that this movie, on rewatch, is pretty good. It's quite endearing. There's a lot of parts that made me laugh. There's a lot of, I won't say a lot, but there's some parts that don't age super well. And make you cringe a little bit, but it's fine. The only thing that bothered me, I will say that I thought was kind of a bummer, was I didn't love how the ending went down. I think they just kind of explain away some things, but it's all like harmless crap. Like it's a fine kids movie, and I think it's a good, enjoyable, fun, tight 80 minutes. So, it's a good ride for sure. So yeah, overall, like, definitely good.
Yeah,
definitely better than fucking Extraction.
Okay.
Sorry,
weird digging
Weird
Extraction.
energy.
Yeah,
I
mean, they had a lot in
about
common.
it, really didn't like it.
Both of them
I know we
took
talked
place
about it last week, but I really didn't like it.
far away. The
excited.
cameos from Joanna Man was great in both. Just kidding. He was not in Extraction. He was in this. Don't know that actor's name. Love him, though. I think he's so funny. Diggins, what'd you think of this movie? Not Extraction. This one.
Well,
Good clarification.
as compared to Extraction, I think this is a very good movie. As compared to my baseline expectations for what a movie should be, it's not bad. I agree with pretty much everything DJ said. It's like there's lots of parts of it that have not aged super well, especially the CGI, but also some of the jokes. But it actually captures the spirit of Scabby Dob.
Scabby Da!
No, Diggins, it's Skibby Dorb. Oh my god.
Okay.
Dabby Dab. That's
I
what
don't
the
know.
new kids. Do you think in the new movie Scooby Doo will Scabby Dab?
Oh, no.
100%. If
Yeah.
Sonic dabs, Scooby Doo's gonna dab.
He's also gonna flippy floss then.
Yeets his way over to the bad guy.
God.
He'll dab.
Or rather, if Sonic flosses, then Scooby Doo's gonna dab.
Oh god, he's gonna dab. You think he's gonna floss? You think Scooby Doo might floss too?
As a puppy, maybe, because he's of that, like, size where he could, like, get up and floss and be like, oh, it's so cute.
Yeah. But anyway, Scabby Dab. You loved Scabby.
It
love
captures the spirit of Scooby Doo surprisingly well.
I mean, they got all your main Scabby Dab things are there. The Scabby Snoop.
like Volmo,
Like-
and Frood,
I love this.
Goof and I.
Daphne.
I want to build up the Scabby Dab universe. Like, this just off-brand.
I mean, listen. If
These are
anything,
the knockoff Chinese toys of Scooby Doo.
these are characters that would show up in like Venture Brothers. Scabby Dab and the solving crew. Scabby Dab and the Caper crew.
That'd be like the Caper Corporation.
Yeah, the Caper Corporation. That's right. What's their classic catchphrase? What's was it Scabby Dabby Dab? Where you had Scabby Dabby Dab?
Where
you at?
Where you
Yeah, where
at?
you
Sure,
at?
yeah. Scabby Dab. But yeah, this movie's good. I liked it. I think it was fun.
Yeah.
They did a good job. They did all. I think I don't mind the CGI at all. In fact, I like it. I think it works. I don't think I can think of a way to improve it, honestly.
Improve the
always
CGI. I can think of many ways.
Well,
I
no,
don't know.
I think you have to take CGI at its time. And, like, unless this was some, like, low-budget piece of crap, which it wasn't, right? Like, there's solid production value into this movie. You assume they're doing the best they can. Like, if you watch Toy Story 1, the animals look like nightmares. Like, the
Yeah.
dog and the cat look horrifying.
Well, that's why there's very little of them in the movie.
So are you saying it's a volume thing, like because your titular character is not great, then it kind of brings the whole thing down, or makes you?
It's fine to work with limited capabilities, but you have to make some effort to account for those limited capabilities instead of having both your main character and your main villains be entirely CGI creations that look very bad.
I
thought the monsters were worse than Scooby Doo. I thought the monsters were really bad.
I agree with this.
They looked like the Space Jam monsters, but like awful.
The Monstars.
Yeah, but like not good.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess the monsters could have been better. And I imagine in the next one they will be. I think there was a humongous gap in quality, or like jump in quality in the early 2000s, where like every year the CGI got 10 times better. Because really, I think it's like a fact that Star Wars, the Phantom Menace, right? It's like the first movie with an all CGI character. Heard that before.
The first live action movie with an all CGI
Yeah,
character?
yeah. Not like Roger Rabbit and stuff, but like
Well, like Toy Story has.
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
all
live
CGI
action
characters.
Yeah. I mean, we're in a simulation, so technically everybody's a CGI character.
Whoa.
That's true.
Robot Noise Musk told me that. But
Oh my
Guy,
god.
if we start on that topic, I will never stop.
we'll get there.
No, we won't. No, we won't.
But okay. But yeah, I imagine the next one, the monsters will look better. I think so this movie came out in 2002. Episode 1 was 1999, right? Something like that. 2000.
Yeah.
Maybe? Early, very, very early.
It was
So,
99.
in 2 years, I think it went pretty well. I also think the way that I think everyone did a good job at interacting with Scooby Doo enough that it didn't feel like a man in a ping pong suit. And I think the animation for the character, I think there's a difference between bad animation and like bad design. And I think the design of everything was very good. I think Scooby Doo as a like thing worked for me. Obviously, like, he didn't seamlessly blend into the background, and the monsters definitely didn't. But even them, I was like, I get what they're going for. So, like, you know, I mean, the good example is Sonic, where, like, the new shitty Sonic from, like, the trailer looked realistic, but looked like design was terrible, and he couldn't emote. Or, like, Lion King, where, like, it looks perfect, but the emotion isn't there. I think this Scooby-Doo was definitely the best they could do, absolutely, for its time. And like, with a movie like this, I'm willing to forgive the CGI after, like, 2 minutes of watching it, and then just be like, all right, so how's it, you know, like, I'm more or less bought in. And yeah, I didn't mind it.
My big problem with the monster CGI is, in the beginning, they have a, like, ghost person who is a mix of practical effects with CGI embellishments that looks, like, fantastic.
Yeah, that part's
Looks
good.
Really, really great. And so they could have done something like that for the actual main villains of the movie, and it would have looked really good. But instead they go with these entirely CGI rubber weirdos that look really bad.
That's a good point. The opening monster is the best part. I mean, it's the best part of this movie, besides all the goofiness. But that's just a Scooby-Doo episode, plus some, you know, real-life stuff.
Plus every news person just coming, oh my god, we gotta see what's happened. It makes me feel like Mystery Inc. is almost like some kind of like all-star privatized investigation service that's like, whoa.
Yeah.
They're clearly supposed to be like famous, you know, stars of some kind.
Wouldn't you have a poster of your favorite mystery inker on your wall if there was a team of 4 completely unqualified nerds and their talking dog going out in the world and stopping ghost-related crimes?
Excuse you, Nando. Completely unqualified nerd children.
Right. Well, sure. How old are they?
Teens.
Well,
Yeah.
in this movie, I feel like they're in their 20s.
I do too. He has a book.
Yeah, and like
I guess Honey Boo Boo probably has a book, but
Shaggy's
I guess
living
they're
by
adults.
himself in a van, and Velma works for NASA.
yeah.
Okay,
there
so
you go.
yeah, they're adults by this movie, but they're young adults at best.
But yeah, I mean, I think we would all have that. I think they are almost treated like a boy band in this movie. I think that's the analogy for them, and I think that's a good analogy for the time, because it maps pretty well to like what those, you know, like how a group like Mystery Inc. is supposed to work. Kind of, there's one that's the cool one and one that's the smart one, and you know, the dangerous one. I mean, they don't have those in bands, but just like everybody plays their part, and some people get kind of jealous, and there's a girlfriend that shows up and ruins it all. Not that that's what happens here, but like kind of. So, yeah, and I mean, there's so many garbage ghost hunting shows. Imagine if this was one of them. Like, who would give a shit about all the crappy ones where the guy doesn't open the evil box because he's scared? Like, this would be the coolest thing in the world. You know what I'm talking about? The guy that doesn't open the evil box. What the heck's it called?
What? No? What?
Yeah,
show.
you lost me.
One of those shows, Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, one of those.
I don't know what those are.
They did a big special once.
You've never heard of a ghost hunting show?
No, like, I don't... You couldn't reference a thing in one of them, and I
Right,
would be
right.
like, yeah, got it.
So at
Okay,
one point,
sure.
there was an episode, they did a live episode with, like, the evil box. I can't remember what it was called, but it's, like, this box.
It's
and
called
got
the
all
Evil
kinds
Box.
It might as well be. I don't know. What was the bad thing in
Who's
this called? Probably a
the-
similar name.
The Demon Raidus or something?
Demonitis.
Oh God, it was such a confusing
Norman
name.
Reedus.
And the Funky Fetus.
Yeah.
Those goddamn writers couldn't call it like the strength box. God damn it.
That's it. That
would've
keep
been
going,
better.
DJ. The strength box.
Yeah.
That's in Scabby Dab. Scabby Dab and his fellow friends find the skank box.
Get in the strength box, Gabby Depp, right now.
Never mind. I know what kind of parody this is, DJ. It wasn't super clear to me until just now. This is a porno parody of Scooby Doo,
no.
the Diggins of Batman.
Oh, no.
Scabby Dab. What the heck is it called? So anyway, not to because I don't watch these shows, but I watch Red Letter Media a lot, and Mike from Red Letter Media loves this shit, and he loves to talk about it, and he realizes how dumb some of it is, but he's like, yeah, I find it fun. And one time they did a live special where the whole thing was like, this is the most haunted thing you can ever believe. No one could possibly do it. No one will open it, otherwise you die. And like Post Malone opened it, got in a plane crash or something, and they were like, oh my God, it's so serious. And he didn't open the box because he got scared.
Dead?
No, but he didn't die, but his plane like crashed or something. Like I don't like it like started going and then like I don't know, it just broke.
They fixed it. They're like, oh, we got it.
I think it was like it didn't get off the runway or something, but he had
It's
like a
the
plane.
fucking engine.
So Post Malone had an emergency landing for plane related. But anyway, what the heck is it called? Someone's here listening to this who knows what it's called. I want to say it's like the demo box, but that's not it.
I bet
box?
no one knows what this thing is. And that's the conundrum.
That is the conundrum. Anyway, that's what we
It's
have in
called
real
Jumanji.
life. Oh my God, is it called Jumanji? It's the... Oh, I'll never know. But anyway, so we in real life have these... Oh, I found it. It's the Dybbuk box. That's what it is. I know.
You see,
I
the
know.
problem was that the name was stupid.
I know. It's like a ancient Jewish mysticism thingy. It's pronounced. It's spelled Dybbuk, and that's part of why it's so funny. This episode is they get a rabbi, and they're like, "Do you know how to do an exorcism?" And he's like, "Not really." And they're like, I thought we were gonna have a rabbi that could do an exorcism."
They didn't,
Anyway,
clear that with him ahead of time.
he legitimately says on camera, they're like, "Do you believe in ghosts?" And he's like, "Not really. I know that doesn't work with the script, but kind of, it's just not my thing." And then the guy's like, and then whoever's in charge of Ghost Adventures is like, but it's
man.
live. So they cut to something else, and then the rabbi is gone.
Wow.
So anyway, that is all to say that I'm saying if there was a Ghost Adventurer team of young adults, cool, hip, fresh young adults in the real world, and this is the Ghost Adventures in our universe right now that we've accepted and people love, these guys would be the coolest shit on the planet. There'd be no Marvel movies. We'd follow these guys around and see what they did. And their ghosts are always real. They always catch the ghost. None of these nerds catch the ghost. They just go around and point stuff at it and go, "It's pretty ghosty," and then leave.
Sure, but the
figure it
ghosts
out.
also turn out to be old men in costumes.
And that's what they are here, kind of. I mean, there's still things in costumes, kind of. It conforms to the Scooby Doo formula, just not in the way you'd expect, They what's the word? They subverted your expectations, Diggins.
Yeah, Diggins.
It's Game of Thrones. Daenerys forgot about the Dybbuk box. whatever the fuck they said in that one thing. Jesus Christ. We're about a year away from Game of Thrones. Like, we're a year out from the finale.
Wow.
Really? Wow.
I know, right? It seems like that happened 8-9 years ago.
What a weird place we'd be in if it happened during the quarantine. Like, I know, I don't know.
People would be on the streets.
Yeah, I would like, well, first of all, it would be really funny because you wouldn't even have those bullshit bar reactions where, like, a lot of people are in a bar watching it, because that's what this last season was written for, was bar reactions. So
Yeah.
they don't even have those.
I feel like people would have been nicer about it.
No, I think people would have been meaner about it.
Oh, you guys, you cynics. You goddamn cynics.
If people,
DJ, you also hate the ending.
yeah, we all hate it. It sucks. It's the worst
I
ending
wasn't-
in anything besides Star
was I
Wars
mean
and a bunch of
about it?
other things.
Oh, you're right. Damn, foiled again.
Justice League, Spider-Man movies, X-Men movies, most of them. But
Guys, we should be a nicer podcast. We should.
hell no.
Everyone would stop listening immediately.
Yeah, they want honesty. You guys want honesty. Speaking of honesty, remember
They
to
don't
tweet
even
DJ yes or no. I can't remember why. But
What was
do
that?
If
No,
you
because
think
of the sunlight
photonic
thing.
sensitivity is real,
Oh yeah.
Not if you think it's real, if it's something affecting you. So even if like your girlfriend has it and she says it's real, don't believe her. Have her do her own tweet. There could be a conspiracy. If anything, this Scooby Doo movie has taught us conspiracies go pretty far into the whole Coast Guard. Everybody's in on it. We can't trust anyone but ourselves.
I just real quick, I'd like to say on the whole being nicer bit, a lot of people like our spats recently, so maybe they want the violence.
Well, I think
That's what the
I think it's
people want.
50-50.
the people want blood.
The people want us to argue, but they like having Diggins because he's nicer in general. I would say than me, for sure. So he raises the niceness quotient enough that we could just go crazy with the meanness. You know, we're balanced out.
Well, I got some bad news for this episode, folks.
Is Diggins fake canceled? What happened?
Oh no! Did you find out about my dark secret?
Oh my God, Diggins! It was you. It was you who made that Scabby Dab series that they keep trying to litigate. The courts are coming for you. The police are at your door. Knock, knock, knock. It's Scabby Dab.
Well, they'll never
Fuck.
catch me. I'm already miles away.
Holy shit. This is how you've lived this long.
I was gonna say because I don't think any of us have anything to fight about for this episode.
Oh, we can fight about this episode forever.
What?
I'll fight
I don't
about
wanna.
anything.
I agree
All right.
with that.
Let's
All right.
fight about it. First of all, this movie is great, and you guys all have to do the opposite opinion. What do you
This
think?
movie sucks.
Damn it!
No, don't do that.
All right. How about this? Out of the 4 members of Mystery Inc., let's hear it. This will start an argument.
The 4 human members.
Yeah. 4 actors. Because the other guy that they got to do Scooby Doo is not Scooby Doo, right? That's not the guy that
not?
usually did it. He's a Scabby Dab, honestly.
Oh, Scabby Dab.
Oh no!
Pretty much, he's a scab. Like it's not your classic Scooby Doo voice. Although I don't know if that guy was alive at the time when they made the movie, or if he's alive now.
Well, they've changed who the canonical Scooby Doo is over the years because of death. But
Right.
there's always a canonical Scooby Doo.
So is he played by the canonical Scooby Doo, or is he swapped out for like a fancy movie star voice Scooby Doo? You know what I mean?
Well, let's see. I'm looking up.
He does a way better Scooby Doo voice here than in the new movie, from what I've seen.
No, they had their own Scooby Doo. It was
See.
not the current. It was not the current Scooby Doo at the time.
Scabby Dab. This is like the
He was a
Godzilla
Scabby
movie,
Dab.
where it's like everybody who knows anything about Godzilla is like, yeah, but that's not the real Godzilla, you guys. The one with Matthew Broderick. That's fake Godzilla. That's Scabzilla's.
There were kind of 2 canonical Scooby Doos at this time. There was Scott Innes and there was Frank Welker, who is the current one.
Sure, Frank Welker, everyone knows from everything, but mostly he's
Yeah.
Megatron.
From any time they've needed an animal voiced in any animated thing, it was Frank Welker.
Yeah, what's the other thing? He's Megatron. He's something else that's a really weird one. A really like friendly, cute thing. I cannot
He's
remember.
Nibbler on Futurama.
No, it's maybe, but it's something else. Oh my god.
He's also always voiced Fred.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Oh, good for him.
he's been the only canonical Fred.
Right.
I'm sure there have been other Freds like Freddie Prinze Jr.
You know who I was thinking of? Abu from whatchamacallit, from Aladdin,
Aladdin?
is another
Yeah.
Frank Welker joint. And Garfield, but from some other cartoon shows, apparently. When Bill Murray isn't down to clown, they call Frank. But so the four main members of Mystery Inc. that are not Scooby Doo. Who did you like the most in this movie? And who did you not? Let's rank them.
All right, can I go?
Of course you can.
Shaggy, Velma, Daphne, Fred.
Okay. Diggins?
I'm gonna go Velma, Shaggy, Daphne, Fred.
Oh, damn it. I have to pick one of those pretty much. I want to pick Fred higher than Daphne just because he had some funny bits, but Daphne was better. Kind of. I don't know. They're both the same. They both be tied for last. It's really Daphne or Velma and Shaggy are the best. And Fred and Daphne are fine. But
I will say, like, props to Linda Cardellini and Matthew Lillard for getting the
Yeah.
voices like exactly correct.
And props to the other two for just fucking not. Like, not even kind of trying. He went Freddie Prinze Jr. and she went Sarah Michelle Gellar.
That's
And
true.
It's not like they don't also have voices. He didn't even kind of, fret up the voice. It's so funny.
Fred was, I can't even think of, what up, man? His evil voice is barely different from his good voice.
Yeah, kind of.
What up, man? That's straight biatch.
It's hard to tell. Listen, this movie's great, but if I were a kid watching from the first time, I would have a really hard time figuring out what Fred's deal was.
He's not very smart. That's his
Yeah,
deal.
pretty much, right? He's just like a hunky dumb guy, but
Yeah.
also like he's kind of the
Kind of a bro.
macho guy. And
Like
he's in love with
bro-y,
Daphne,
but-
kind of.
Well, okay. Actually, I have a thesis about this movie
Shit.
regarding that.
Yeah?
Which is the whole movie a Fred and Velma romance. And then at the very end, they
Yeah.
just bait and switch us and it's Fred and Daphne instead, even though they haven't really been interacting or having chemistry this whole movie.
Can't
Yeah.
imagine a movie that would do that. Cough, cough, Rise of Skywalker, cough, cough.
Maybe the actors just kissed, and then they were like, I guess these characters might too.
Am I not
Film
correct?
it.
There are several scenes in this movie that seems to be hinting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're so correct. Yeah,
absolutely.
And
He
then
literally said he was attracted to her. Like,
and then Velma just like gets boy in Led Zeppelin t-shirt from the campfire earlier.
Yeah,
like
gets-
what the
Disgusting
fuck
mustache
gets,
was
kid.
that?
Bargain basement Dave Franco.
what the heck was that guy?
I don't know. He was in a Led Zeppelin t-shirt in an earlier scene. That's the only detail I could remember.
The generic ShopRite version of Dave Franco. That's who that was.
Well, the thing is, and I don't want to spoil it, Velma might get a love interest in the next one, and he
Well,
might
I
be a
knew that.
person we kind of recognize. Or sorry, wait, what?
I knew that.
Oh, okay. And that guy, I'm like, oh yeah, that's like what a guy looks like. Like, not like that's like what a guy looks like, but that's what I expected. I had no idea that this kid was even anything. And he wasn't anything. He was literally nothing in this.
They just added a couple scenes with him when they decided not to go with the Fred Velma romance so that everyone besides Scooby gets a romantic interest in the end.
Very
Cowards.
possible.
Yeah, they're huge cowards.
So this actor, by the way, is named Charlie Cousins, and he is best known for this. And City Homicide and the Dr. Blake miniseries, Mysteries. I don't know what that is. I don't know what any of those things he's in is, but yeah. So, like, I don't know, man. He just, oh, God. I couldn't deal with his face. I hate that goatee thing he had.
The like
very
wispy
upsetting.
beard thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, if you got curly hair for your beard, just don't grow a beard. I'm begging you. Please.
Yeah, don't. Beards,
Yeah,
I know
definitely
it looks tempting,
don't.
but, like, don't.
No, seriously, everyone, don't do that. Why would you do that? That's such a bad idea.
DJ, you're saying this like I haven't directly said to you to shave your beard.
I know. Listen, I fucking quarantine, man. Who cares? Who am I
Listen.
shaving for?
Am I Michelle, who you live with?
She didn't give a shit.
Your
Well,
cat.
then that's fine.
Well, the cat. I don't know if the cat cares. I haven't asked him.
He's nice.
Listen, am I going to act like my like my grooming habits have been stellar in quarantine? They haven't.
Well,
All
you guys
right,
got to
well,
get your shit together. You got to
you know.
be cool quarantine people. It's going to
Pop-
be a mess the day we actually open up because we're not. Like, right? That's like a thing that some people are doing, but I think most of us are responsible enough to stay home. But the people that are going out, like if there's a day where it's like everybody leave, we're all going to just, it's going to be such a slow step out of our apartments.
Our eyes like holding up our arms like we're in a movie where we've been trapped underground for so long. We're just like, oh, the sun. Oh, I've heard legends about this wondrous orb.
It's gonna be like when Neo gets let out of the pod in the Matrix. We're gonna be like, "What the fuck? I can't move."
It'll be like what happens to somebody in this movie. The sun will, the sun will not be a good thing
Yeah.
for us. So speaking of this movie, guys, we gotta talk about it. This movie's great.
We've almost been recording for the length of this movie, and we have not discussed the plot.
All right, well let's get into the plot because there's plenty of it, but there's only some that is. I mean, it's all pretty bizarre. First of all, this
listen,
movie's
guys.
made by what's his name? It's by James Gunn. We kind
It
of
was
mentioned
written
that
by
before.
James Gunn. It is
Yeah,
not
yeah,
directed
yeah.
by James Gunn.
Apparently, his version was much sexier, and I think they toned it down. believe I've heard.
Because he had Fred and Velma fuck on screen.
Oh my God.
Ew.
And then they decided to remove the whole romance because they're cowards.
I'd love that though. Like not that specific bit, but just a Fred and Velma relationship.
There was in the TV show Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, there was for some time a Shaggy and Velma relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I kind of thought that was where this movie was going. Like for a second. Because it was like, I don't know, she seemed to like him, and his girlfriend was clearly evil or something. So,
Well, we'll talk about that.
Not the
'cause
whole time,
it's
though,
not,
right?
No,
it's
not
not
even.
clear.
yeah.
You talk about his girlfriend, Mary Jane. Whoa, get it? It's like the weed.
That was great. Well, apparently in James Gunn's script, so I'm reading this. He wanted to overly. Okay. Wow. In past interviews, James Gunn has shared that he wanted to play up certain aspects of the original story to amuse an older crowd, like teasing Shaggy's apparent pothead habits. He also wanted to more overtly showcase Velma's sexuality because he's, quote, pretty sure she's gay. He told the Seattle Times in 2002, quote, so he had a couple little nods to that in the movie, and in the end, again, they detracted from scenes. For example, the script originally featured a scene where Velma, Linda Cardellini, blatantly oogles Daphne, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and the pair were later supposed to kiss. The scenes were cut for the studio's PG wishes.
Yeah, of course they were.
But were they,
I mean,
though?
there is a point where Velma says that Daphne is beautiful.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
She means in, like, how someone's soul is beautiful.
No, she really doesn't. In context.
I don't know. I feel like you could call
Listen,
someone else beautiful.
It's
Whatever.
it's a popular ship, and I understand it. I can't
Were
say
ships a thing in 2002?
ships have always been a thing, DJ.
Okay.
Listen,
Yeah.
I can't say it was ever something I partook in, that particular aspect of the Scooby Doo fandom. But hey, if you're a Velma Daphne person, go nuts.
Show me your browser history, Diggins.
Live your truth.
I just assumed they were all, like, together in that, just the
You
four
know, they're
person.
like a
talk about.
polycule.
Yeah, kind of. I'm
Is
not
Scooby
saying-
part of the polycule?
A quuple?
I could
Would be
almost say a thruple. I think you could do Velma, Daphne, Fred, and then Shaggy and Scooby just don't even know what's going on.
Well, because
That's
they're blazed
fair.
out of their minds, am I right?
Yeah,
Get
or
it?
they're just
It's because of
eating.
weed.
Exactly. And they're like, hey, Shaggy and Scooby, you guys go do your own thing. We're gonna go hang out, and then that's what happens. But okay, all right. So the movie starts. How does the movie start, DJ? What's our cold open here?
So we get a classic episode of Scooby Doo where the gang, as it were, is setting up a trap to capture a ghost who isn't really a ghost. So I appreciated this. As with the show, they have a plan, and it doesn't even go a little bit right. But then they still catch the guy because Shaggy and Scooby stumble into a victory, if you will.
Yeah.
In the first instance of putting early 2000s extreme sports in
Oh,
the movie,
God.
they skateboard
Yeah.
around this toy factory.
They skateboard in the one man top of barrel, one man bottom of barrel, like not disguise, but like goofy Scooby Doo situation. It really is like the Scooby Dooiest way you could possibly do that, and for that reason, I'm impressed. It's not like Shaggy just skateboards because it's
That's
like,
true.
well, we want a character to skateboard in this movie, so let's have the guy do it. It's like, no, we're gonna fucking make Scooby Dooey skateboarding. They skateboard through the factory in Attack of the Clones, where Anakin almost gets his arm chopped off, where everything's just big, giant, blink like anvils and stuff. How do they get the bad guy? I can't remember. He just hits things.
They so there's the oil and then the thing.
I think
Oh,
eventually, because they're like zooming around the factory, Scooby and Shaggy like crash into him.
Right, yeah. At one
Yeah.
point, did you think that the bad guy was going to set himself on fire?
I did not think that. No.
They like knock over a canister of oil, and then the bad guy pulls out a flamethrower, and I'm like, uh-oh, this ain't good. And
So you thought they were going to retire because of the grisly murder they committed?
something like that, yeah.
Pamela Anderson's like, no, my husband. By the way, do you remember why the guy did the thing?
Because he wanted He wanted to have sex with Pamela Anderson. She
Yeah,
wouldn't
he
go
was
on
a
dates with him.
janitor who, by the way,
Old
should
man
be...
Smithers, you know, give him his
Sorry.
respects. He made a whole cool ghost suit.
He should be working at fucking NASA because, yeah, he made that ghost suit, but he's a janitor, and he's
Yep.
like, Pamela Anderson, you said no to my advances, so I decided to haunt this toy factory.
I would
He
have
says
been
something
best
about his
lover.
like, oh yeah, his powerful
yeah.
love making abilities or something.
Yeah, that
Me
was
and
weird.
Borat, I love you very much, Pamela. Very similar to that. Setting the stage for the Borat-Pamela relationship. They unmask him. How is he doing his thing, by the way, if we want to describe this ghost?
He
Diggins,
has
can
a
you explain?
He has a
what the
series of
ghost looks like?
balloons attached to his suit. He's like a black and white kind of. He's got like a jester hat kind of head.
Yeah.
That with the two bells. He's wearing like a Beetlejuice style black and white clown outfit. Mm-hmm. With like stitched mouth and black eyes, and he like hops around and sets things on fire, I guess.
Yeah. He's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it actually looks really good.
And like when they explain what it is, I'm almost like, oh, is that actually what they did? Is that the CGI? And it's not, but it almost kind of maybe could be. Kind of like you could make that a real guy.
His suit is filled with balloons that he fills with a like hyper helium that allows him to float.
Yeah.
So the fact that hyper helium doesn't exist does make that difficult to be what they did.
Right. But if you filled a guy with regular helium,
Probably
could he
still wouldn't float.
No.
It's not that
Damn it,
strong.
we need to get hyper helium going because that looked like a lot of fun.
Well, as I'm saying, how is this dude just a janitor?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, what's
Maybe
your
he
name gets
just-
into NASA? Maybe he will too.
Maybe he just stole the hyper helium and he didn't invent it.
True.
Maybe that was part of the. Oh no. It was part of the Pamela Anderson dolls.
Yeah.
A little bit of
Oh,
hyper
boy.
helium in each one.
I don't want to know what kind of dolls Pamela Anderson was making in this factory.
I bet we do. I think we all know right now.
Nope.
And,
Children's action figures because of how popular she was with children.
So, like,
Yeah.
do you guys remember the show Stripperella?
Yes.
I do, actually, yes.
Right? So we all know that? Okay, I don't know. I wasn't sure if that was something I made up in my brain. When that happened,
Oh my god.
it was Pamela Anderson was like a superhero that was like pretty much Black Widow. And I remember they had a show on like Spike TV, and I was like, this is like bad. I can't watch
Oh,
this.
boy.
But, like-
Spike TV, just saying those words has like
Right.
forcibly teleported my brain back to the early 2000s.
The
But,
channel still exists. It's just called the Paramount Network.
Oh, yes, and it is the
I-
Paramount. It was always the Paramount Network.
We've
I still
always been at war with East Asia.
listen,
But
boys.
what
I
I was-
don't know about you. I'm
Yeah.
still watching Bar Rescue with my boy John Taffer. That's all.
Oh
I'm
my
saying.
god. Sometimes I still have a question and I turn to Mansers for the answer to that question. I need to know. That 1,000 Ways to Die show, that was Spike. That was a fun show.
Oh my god, yeah, that was so good.
Either way, all I was going to get at was that Stripperella show, probably not for kids. However, Stan Lee had an intro in it. He would be like, I made Stripperella. I thought it was a fun superhero for Pamela Anderson. And, yeah, I mean, good for him, man.
Yeah, sure. Good for
He got checks, and I probably got to hang out with Pamela Anderson, which in the 2000s, boy howdy, was that the biggest like thing you could do. Because so this ghost janitor is terrorizing this toy factory, and they beat the ghost like before we know it's a janitor, and the press floods the factory. They're like, "Oh my god, Mystery Inc., you guys!" And then the Mystery Mobile pulls up, being driven by someone other than our main four characters, and it turns out it was Pamela Anderson. Did that
Yeah, she drove that
surprise you
shit-
guys this time, seeing it?
Yes.
I was shocked.
Especially because she drove it through a wall.
Yeah.
Like, no fear.
It feels like, if anything, Fred would not let someone drive it. 'Cause
Right?
it's his, right? He owns it?
Well, I think it's Shaggy's because he's the one who lives in it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, Shaggy and Scooby are the ones who get to keep it in this movie when they break up.
So I think, and Diggins, you can probably correct me on this, canonically, everything belongs to Daphne, because Daphne is independently wealthy. Like, she has a wealthy father.
Daphne is wealthy. I think Shaggy might also be wealthy.
Yeah, you know what? That's true. They're both wealthy. I think, yeah, you're right. The Rogers, because it's,
His name's Norville. Norville Rogers is
Yeah.
Shaggy's real name.
You're right. I think at one point in one of the movies it was about Daphne, but you're right. He is also rich, so maybe it is his van. But I mean,
Who's
Fred
to
drives
say?
it, but it's probably just because Shaggy's too high.
He's like the best
He's
driver.
blazed
Yeah.
out of his mind on the weed. Am I right?
Yeah, he loves it. He
loves
loves it so
the
much. He
weed.
smokes in the van, and he puts the weed away right before the cameras come in the van, and then he's just smoking a nice chicken or whatever. It's a cute little switch. I think this first scene is great. Pamela Anderson being in it is weird. I think if you showed it to someone now, they would be like, "Who the fuck is Pamela Anderson?" I don't think that cameo aged well at all.
To be fair, if you showed somebody old Scooby Doo, they'd be like, "Who the fuck is Phyllis Diller?"
Who the fuck is Batman? Like,
Okay,
I think if they got a sports star, different story. Michael Jordan or something.
Oh
Even-
my God! If it was Michael Jordan, man.
Or even like Dennis Rodman or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you'd see me
Oh,
go, that's a basketball player.
Please,
you know?
Dennis Rodman. Oh my God.
But with this, it's like, I don't even know who she is. If I had to explain Pamela Anderson to a child, what would I say?
She
would
had
you say?
very large tracts of land.
Personality.
Yeah, big fake boobs. And also, she was a lifeguard on a show that, man, don't even think about watching it, kids. And also, then she did a sex tape with Tommy Lee, not the one you think, a different one. And also, I want to say she was on like reality shows at some point. And she did that for a career for a while. And also Borat. Stripper LIS too. Anyway, all that is to say, this cold open, besides her, is great. And it really is just they filmed an episode of Scooby Doo.
But my point, though, was that Pamela Anderson is a good choice of random, extremely of-the-time celebrity
Yeah.
who shows up in a Scooby Doo property.
That's fair. That's fair. Why couldn't it have been the Harlem Globetrotters? They would have showed up.
Oh man, they would have showed up.
For sure. That's why I think basketball player, even if we can't get the Harlem Globetrotters, get Jason Williams in there. Get one of the ones that did a really fun crime later. Not that it's a fun crime to murder your limo driver, but if you...
Listeners at home, you heard it here first.
No.
Murdering your limo
That'd just be another
driver
funny
is
way
really
to date
fun.
it. But
It's really fun, and you should definitely go murder your limo driver if
don't murder
you can.
your limo driver, and Jason Williams did not do that, maybe allegedly. Jason Kidd, on the other hand, star of the time, he would be the right kind of guy for that.
No one
Obviously,
would know who he is.
Shaq.
They'd be like,
Shaq
who?
is the right
Shaq
kind
would
of
be
guy for
great.
that.
Yeah.
Like, the thing with the
Charles
Scooby-
Barkley. Oh, there's so many
Yeah.
options.
See, you can't get a Space Jam guy. That's why you need Shaq.
Sure.
It's easy to think back now and be like, oh, just pick this person who people would still recognize. It's hard to know in the moment who that's going to be.
That's fair. I think if anything, they probably should have gone back to their reservoir. Get Adam West. Or get, like, one of the... Or the Harlem Globetrotters. Or even, like, Phyllis Diller. I don't know. Might as well.
I'm not
that
sure
would've been
Phyllis
weird.
Diller was still alive.
I mean, they had a ghost in the whole thing. Make it a Phyllis Diller. I don't know. But we have learned so much about Shaq that he would be the perfect person for this. However, he was also probably filming, like, Steel or something. He loves
Or
his,
Blue Chips, whatever. No, that was early.
Blue
Nah,
Chips?
Whatever. Wasn't it?
What's that?
Movie. When did Blue Chips come out? 1994.
Oh.
It's just a basketball movie.
Oh, okay. I was like, I guess there's Kazam.
Yeah.
There's Steel.
We should do Blue Chips.
I've never even heard of it. So, yeah.
It's on Crackle for free.
Cool.
Oh, Crackle,
on
that
now.
service that everyone has.
Yeah, might as well be on Quibi. And if it was, I'd have seen it because I've watched so much Quibi, guys.
Oh my god,
Oh,
you
God.
and Quibi, dude.
It's gonna be my rec. I'm gonna
was last
unironically
week,
wreck a
wasn't
Quibi
it?
show. I mean, I'm still on the 3-month free trial, so we'll see.
Is it the one that everyone says is good?
Which one's that?
Well, we'll find out when we
Yeah,
get to
we
your
will.
rec.
But okay, so they do the whole thing. They do the whole bit, and then they immediately leave the room. Like they leave the warehouse after
Yeah.
Fred does an interview that does not give the team the credit they deserve. And then what happens, DJ?
And so Velma's like, wow, typical Fred, just taking the credit for yourself. This sucks. And, the team's like, you know what, maybe we should break up. Daphne's like, I'm tired of being the damsel. Velma doesn't get credit for her plans. Fred's like, but I'm the best. And then Shaggy's like, guys, we're like a banana sundae with all the ketchup and hot sauce, and we make everything work. And it's like this really awesome impassioned speech, and all of them are like, Nah.
Yeah,
They
right?
just bounce.
Fuck those guys, man. They should be cool. Like, he gave a nice speech.
It was a good speech.
It's almost as good as the one from The Losers about the Spice Girls, where it's just, like, nonsense. But he's like, oh, that's nice. But they, like, were mean to Shaggy in that moment. It very much made me not like any of them but Shaggy.
Yeah, right.
Well,
He's
hey,
the
listen,
only
they've been through a
liable
lot. They've had this speech from Shaggy like 10 times, and it's always worked before, but this time it was all
That's
too much.
fair. So then they all go their separate ways. Let's kind of... So then... What's up?
All of their cars there, by the way. Like, did they all show up in their own car?
Yeah, was Pamela Anderson in the Mystery Mobile? She was like, nobody else can be in here, so everybody rent a car.
I think you mean the mystery machine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pushes glasses up face.
Yeah.
I literally did that while I was saying that.
The Mastery Machine.
Right, which
The
was Scabby Dab.
Mystery
Scabby Dab.
So, okay. So then some time passes, and everybody grows apart. They all become actual, like, not like actual characters, but they all, like, get a
2
flaw.
years later, in fact.
Yeah. So by then, they're all definitely, like, in their 20s. But
As we pointed out earlier, Velma has a job at NASA. Fred is, like, on a book tour.
Yeah.
On the lecture circuit with his book.
his
So,
book,
like, they've got to
The
be
Fred
adults.
of Freds of Me or something, which is
Oh
great.
my god, the many faces of Fred. They're all
Yes.
great. Look at my face.
I wish they I wish that came out. This movie came out in the time when they made all the books for movies, so you could have it at your house. So I would have that at my house.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
Good gag in this movie that I noticed while having it on silent while we record this. On the airplane, Fred
Yep.
is reading his own book.
Yep, he's trying to
Yeah, he
figure
is. I
himself
took that
out.
down.
I also
I took-
caught that one.
I took that one down. One of my few notes.
I was really proud of him. And then Velma's working for NASA. So they are all recruited by some guy who's like, you got to come to this island to solve a crime. We
By,
only
like-
see Shaggy and Scooby being recruited.
Mandalorian Vitruvius or something.
Yeah. And
Sorry.
What's up?
Do you guys remember when they go to get Shaggy on the beach, like what the envelope said? Because I paused it and looked at this. I'm like, is that right?
is it his name that we know now?
Yeah, so it's like his real name and Scooby Doo, but then the address is just the beach.
That's
That's good.
the good stuff I like about this movie.
I'm just trying to imagine this. Post workers like, where does this go? The beach. You know, the beach.
Yeah. Couldn't
Just go
imagine
find
his
him.
luck that he found them.
Yeah, right.
Although they're celebrities, right?
Yeah,
That's true.
seemingly.
They don't
Although,
give a
guys, you you forgot the excellent joke at the start of this scene where
Oh, a little bit of
you see
a
we
little bit of nonsense
we-
there, Diggins.
we
What's going on?
we start on the exterior of the mystery machine.
Oh,
Where there's smoke coming out of the top and they're giggling and they're like,
that-
oh, this is the primo stuff.
Yep.
And then we cut inside and there's smoking meat on a griddle.
Oh.
But you see, you thought it was the weed.
Well, they even say like, "I love baking, man." Like it's really on the nose. It's really good.
It's so over the top. And
I loved it. That's another part of this movie that I loved.
like they were hotboxing it. By the way, very dangerous. Don't do that at home, kids. Don't fucking grill inside with all the doors shut.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It'll
That's
end
not a great
poorly.
way to cook food. I mean, listen.
Well, the mystery machine's not licensed to operate as a food truck, so they got to be careful.
yeah,
Oh, true.
they're celebrities. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, they're basically gods.
I try, like people worship Shaggy as their god now. Why wouldn't they have when the movie came out?
That's
So Shaggy, and we'll get God Shaggy in the next movie. But so Shaggy and Scooby are coaxed into being part of this conspiracy thingy because they are offered a free meal or like several free meals.
all you can eat.
And
What do you think the pitch was to the other three members were? Because everyone else agrees, but we don't see the pitch to them. Like, how did they get all of them to agree to this?
Everyone else probably stopped at lots of money.
yeah,
Yeah, right.
So I think when the rest of them were signed on, they were all like, "I'm going to solve a mystery." Like it seems like they all jumped at the fact to do this because they all missed it. It's only
They
Scooby
all-
and Shaggy that are done with it.
They all wanted to, first of all, solve a mystery, but they wanted to solve a mystery on their own to prove that they could.
Yes, exactly. And obviously they want to go to spooky sex Spring Break Island and meet Mr. Manischewitz and his wacky whatever this is.
Yeah,
Like-
can we talk about why Spooky Island is apparently a hit spring break destination?
Well, listen, it seems like fun. I'd go, I would go to Spooky Island if it was a real place. Like, I would.
Sure.
But someone like me would that doesn't hate islands and it's like, yachts and the people there. But, like, it seems like the kind of thing that would be popular. Plus, you'd send Sugar Ray there and the kids would follow.
Oh, well, yeah, they would. God damn, they would.
They're the Pied Pipers of sleeveless shirts.
What I thought was super bizarre was, like, they made the puns to make it, like, a fake Disney World.
Yeah.
Like, the jokes were, check out our Electric Dead Parade with It's a Dead World After All. Oh, and what's this? The Splatterhorn.
Yeah.
Like, just all these, like, ridiculous Disney punch. Yo, don't do that today because they'll sue your ass.
That's true. I'm sure
It was cool back then, but no.
Do you think this movie works a little bit better if it's not Spooky Island, but it is Spooky Island? Like,
What do you mean?
Like, it's clearly a Santa. Like, it's like, so I just don't know canonically, like in the logic of the movie, what happened, how we got to where we are from the island management standpoint. So I don't.
It was always Spooky Island.
Okay, was it always a spring break spot?
I don't know.
Okay. Because you could you could have this movie be, like, it's Spooky Island, but it's not Spooky Island. Like, it's a cool, sexy spring break place. But when you take down, like, the signs, the Small World After All ride is, like, Small Massacre After All. And it's like, wait a second, this is a Spooky Island. Which is why the evil, abandoned, like, whatchamacallit stands out, which I think would kind of fit with our main character, or like not main character, but the villain and kind of what he's up to. But yeah, I think the Spooky Island part of it is very strange.
The Spooky Island part makes more sense with the manager, who is Mr. Bean.
Right.
Like, I don't think of Mr. Bean as being the owner of a hit spring break destination.
I don't know what he is, because he's basically a butler. He's like a cool zany butler in this. He's not a spooky guy, but he's also not a fun guy. So,
Yeah.
if anything, he seems like a Walt Disney figure, or like someone.
Well,
who's
of
like,
course.
Yeah, very good. Very, very good. But mostly this movie is about, and I think the movie doesn't really get into it. The movie forgets about it pretty much immediately. But this movie, there's a really big undertone once we all get to the island about, like, cultural appropriation and stuff.
Oh,
in
boy.
a way, it's very strange.
Yeah.
It seems like that's the lesson of it at one point, and then it isn't.
And then it's like, no, we just wanted to do a bunch of cultural appropriation. We're not saying anything about it.
Yeah, we thought it would be funny if the bad guys were, like, weird, dudes with, like, skull masks.
Like
but
weird, vaguely indigenous peoples.
yeah, and also a luchador. They got it all. And also voodoo. It's really a grab bag of whatever. However, the first I guess we skipped this. So when Shaggy is on the plane to Spooky Island? When he's on the plane to Spooky Island, he sits next to, or is sat next to by, who we are wondering I should appear.
Well, an attractive young woman who has up until now never appeared in the Scooby Doo franchise, whom Shaggy immediately hits it off with.
Yeah.
What was her name again, Diggins?
Well, it was
You
see,
card.
it was Mary Jane, like the weed. And he said, and then Shaggy's
boy.
like, that's my favorite name.
Yeah. She also eats Scooby snacks, which, I mean, these movies have never quite understood what Scooby snacks are. I think this movie understands it the least.
They understand
They
it's
really seem to be dog treats.
Yeah, it's a dog treat. But
It's a Scooby Doo branded dog treat.
it's never clear in what direction the naming goes, or if it's a coincidence. You know?
We learn in Scoob.
Scoob
right?
isn't
We
canon.
Totally learn.
Yeah.
Is it not?
It's its own canon.
Yeah, it's a new Scooby Doo universe.
But
Okay, sure.
But I think I would say in this movie it probably is more likely that because of their level of celebrity, the snacks are named after them. That's just a guess, but it'd be weird if they were named after the snack. The dog is named after the snacks. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's what he is usually, but I don't know. It never comes up. It should come up once or twice. I mean, it is in the new movie, and we'll see if that works. But yeah, so this girl. Anybody recognize her, by the way? It took me a while to pin her down.
No, I did not.
So in the beginning, I'm like, this is Nicole Kidman, but it's not. This is younger Nicole Kidman. Who is younger Nicole Kidman? Then I realized it's because she's not usually blonde, but she is fake Australian and really doing her best with that accent. It's Isla Fisher. Yeah, I know. It took me a while to find, to really get, but yeah, it is her. And if you notice it, it's super obvious. But yeah, she's, I think, naturally a redhead, and usually a redhead in movies, so it's a little bit, you wouldn't immediately call it. So they go to Mystery Island. Mr. Montevarius, played by Mr. Bean himself, Rowan Atkinson, shows up, and he's like, hey, Mystery Inc., I love you guys. You're so great. Something's going on my island. I don't quite know what he thinks it is. What, at that point in the movie, does Mr. Montevarius want them to solve?
Well, Mr. Montevarius says that there's some kind of ghost or other spookum on his island that is affecting the hot teens who come to his island.
And it's making them behave?
It's making them weird, because they're so we see the hot teens who are leaving on the plane or boat or whatever that they just arrived on. And they're all standing perfectly still and silent. And when another dude comes up and is like, hey, I know you. We've known each other for 15 years. The girl that he is talking to, tells him to shut up, bodily lifts him into the air, and throws him 20 feet.
Yeah.
So it's that's not normal.
But you can't close the park.
But no, obviously not.
It's spring break. And
listen, sometimes a bunch of hot, sexy teens have to be sacrificed to keep the economy going.
It's freedom, man. It's Shaggy's freedom to die from monster or whatever, and he deserves it.
Yeah, it's true.
I think that as a setup is fine. The island itself, it's like a theme park, but we barely see the theme park part of it. Isn't that strange?
We do get an extended segment in one ride.
Yes, that's true. I guess that's fair. So then the teams all go do their own separate thing. What do they do? I can't remember.
It's all, they're all we're just going to split up and do our own thing.
Right, because Daphne, Velma, and Fred still don't want to work together.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're F this, we're doing our own thing. But they all wind up at this weird campfire that tells a story. Is this really
Velma's
weird?
There.
No, yeah. They all get their own little red herrings.
Shoot. Oh, you're right. So yeah, Velma goes to a campfire that's the island is haunted, ooh. And this weird shaman's trying to be aren't you scared? And she's like, I would be, except for the projectors you got over there. And he's like, shut up, you buzzkill.
Yeah, honestly.
Trying to entertain the people.
And this is the first appearance of Bargain Basement Dave Franco.
Yes, we get Led Zeppelin T-shirt King.
And penultimate, I think. I don't think we'll see him again for a while.
He appears three times.
Yeah, he has 3 appearances. Yeah, he's in there in the end there. But yeah, and he shows up, and he is technically there, and he is clearly not an extra. But besides that, he doesn't do anything.
He doesn't have a moment with her at all, I don't think, does he?
Yeah,
nope.
No, he does
just
later.
There.
He does.
He might be CGI'd. Maybe add
if
him
so,
post.
best CGI in the movie.
Yeah, him and Linda Cardellini were never on set together.
They wouldn't be surprised. Apparently, they CGI'd her cleavage. I read this.
What?
Down for PG-ness. Yes.
Oh, down?
Oh.
Yes.
Whoa.
Well, because later in the second half of the movie, instead of wearing her thick turtleneck, she's wearing the sexy Velma outfit.
Open shirts.
Just you wait until the next movie for the sexy Velma outfit.
Oh, I
but
know.
yes,
I know
wearing
exactly what you're talking about.
She's wearing a sexier than usual. She's wearing what you would assume Velma would wear to a beach. Sweater is fine, but it's uncomfortable.
It was really considerate. We'll get there. I'll wait till we're there.
Okay.
But okay. So Velma goes to the thing to see the show. I honestly can't remember what Fred does. Daphne goes and visits Joanna Man in his little hut.
Oh boy, these scenes.
Do people remember Joanna Man? Is that a reference I have to clarify?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, really? DJ, have you seen Joanna Man?
No.
Joanna Man was What If Mrs. Doubtfire, but the NBA. So there's a basketball player who gets fired from the NBA for cheating or being a showboat. I can't remember. And he decides to come up with a character and be in the WNBA. And the character's name is Joanna Man. and
Oh,
he
boy.
falls in love and like learns the story. It's great. It's the dumbest movie, but it's great. And I mean, it's basically it's an okay movie. Like obviously the cross-dressing trope's a little much, but he learns that you know the WNBA is cool and stuff. Whatever. Anyway, this actor, who has been in plenty of other things, will never not be Juwanna Mann to me. So for henceforth, he will be referred to as Juwanna Mann, because I have a feeling his character name is probably like Voodoo Jones or something.
It's probably something pretty racist.
Yeah. So Juwanna Mann is a resident of the island?
I guess?
What is the island besides the theme park?
I think the island is the theme park, because from the wide shot, it seems like it encompasses the whole thing.
And we never meet any island natives. They all are theme park employees.
Except for him. He doesn't seem to work for the theme park.
Exactly.
Maybe
Where did he get the chicken?
Maybe he did. That's a great question.
He steal it from like the the kitchen at the theme park?
Amazon.
I was going to say...
he gets
the drone
he
delivered it.
gets drone deliveries.
Fair.
That's where they served first in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I was thinking too, like, maybe he was a park employee who retired but stayed there, because the whole island has the vibe of like, yo, what if a company like Disney bought an island and like, boom, theme park, but we have less rules because island.
Yeah, it'd
It's
be
like
like
how I was just gonna say, it's like how Dana White was gonna buy that island to have UFC fights on.
Well, yeah, it seems like something more like that, where it's like, what if a rich person bought an island and was just like, I'm going to do something dumb. I'm going to make my complete fantasy, which is teenagers and scary amusement park rides. Like, I guess that's what it is. Because, yeah, this guy, I think he might work there. I think he might work on the like in the gift shop or something. Because he needs to support his life, and the jobs are island jobs. And he's also, like, he doesn't have an accent. He's just Juwanna Mann, which is fine, because whatever accent he tried would have probably sounded stupid. But, like, yeah, it just seems like someone that stayed on the island for a while. But he is he is the only island native I think we ever meet. And what's his deal?
Like, he's just trying to ward off the evil spirits, right?
And what's the conversation he has with Daphne?
Oh, God. He tells her about the castle, but I forget exactly what.
Yeah, he's just like, don't go to the castle.
That was it, right? He's like, don't go there, it's bad. Oh, and she's like, oh, you're reverse psychologying me by telling me to not go to the castle.
Yeah.
You know I will, so I should go. Something weird like that.
So then that brings up the question to me, what does he know about the castle?
What does he know? I don't remember.
Because the castle, we will learn, is an abandoned theme park ride that is sometimes used to educate monsters. Which part of that is he privy to?
Maybe he used to work on the ride. Maybe he was an old operator. I think he is a former park employee.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I can wrap my head around.
After he quit, they just let him just live on the beach?
Right?
Why not?
Why not kidnap him? You kidnap everybody else.
Well, because he
Maybe they
wards
don't know
them
he's
off
there.
with voodoo rituals.
That's true, with chickens. Yeah.
They can't go near him.
It seems like Mr. Bean is a nice and gregarious gentleman. Maybe he's like cool with that shit.
That's true. Maybe Mr. Bean, maybe there's some sort of law that you have to have one native of the island living there before it becomes something bad. So he's like, they keep him around, but really, like he's just a red herring, but he's such an unconvincing red herring that I have a really hard time figuring out what his whole deal is supposed to be. Because it turns out all of the red herrings are actually herrings. Whatever you think they are, they mostly are. Everyone is evil except for him. So they go to this. What's up?
Mary Jane's not actually a red herring.
Or is she?
She is. Of course she is.
No, what happens to her is what happens to every other person on the island.
Right. But you're supposed to be like suspicious of her.
Even on the plane?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, DJ, a random girl who happens to be perfect for Shaggy, down to eating dog treats, just happens to be on this plane. Come on.
And allergic to dogs. You're supposed to suspect her immediately because of that.
She's not evil on the plane.
Yeah.
She's like...
because it's a red herring. Like, it's a mystery.
No. I'm saying she's not secret evil on the plane either. On the plane, she is genuine and good, and that is her character. She later becomes evil the same way Fred becomes evil. Fred is not a red herring at any point.
Right, but I mean, like, I guess she's not a bad guy, but as red herring being a mystery trope where we are supposed to suspect her, but in the end, she is supposed to not be the villain. Like, when the movie starts, we are introduced to, like, once we get to the island, we have been introduced to her, Mr. Montevarius, the guy who's doing the amusement park show, the professional wrestler who we haven't even talked about, but just lives on the island and is part of the show, Voodoo Man, that might be it, and Velma's boyfriend, I guess. And they're all red herrings, really, kind of, for the real villain, except they're all herrings because they're all part of it, you know? It's not like one of them is the bad guy and all of the rest of them are innocent. By the end of the movie, they're all part of the conspiracy, except for Voodoo Guy.
I have to say, we've said red herring so much that now I'm just thinking about how in A Pup Named Scooby Doo, every single episode, Fred thinks that it was actually done by Red Herring, his, like, school rival.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
like there's
great.
a character
Nice.
named Red Herring in A Pup Named Scooby Doo, and like the joke is that every single episode, Fred accuses him at the end.
I love it. That's really funny. Is it a good show? Do you think it holds up?
A Pup Named Scooby Doo? Pup Named Scooby Doo is
Yeah.
great.
Awesome. Is it on Netflix or something? I want to watch it. Let's find it. Anyway, so they go to the amusement park ride. What happens at the amusement park ride? The amusement park ride is evil. Kind of.
They're in a very unclear amount of danger.
Yeah.
Like I could not tell. Like, okay, so it turns out like all this stuff is real and they're actually like gonna be hurt, or is it a ride and they're fine? They're just panicking.
I think they're all going to die on this ride. Except for, well, I think Fred and Velma are not going to die on the ride. They're only going to die on the ride, like those, like the tourists who are like, you know, urban explorers who like get out of the car and try to touch all the stuff. Like, they're going to be killed by the ride by accident. But Shaggy and Scooby, I think, are going to be killed by the ride. And Daphne is just getting driven into a bunch of spikes. So, like, I don't see... There's no trapdoor that opens. I think she is in actual danger.
Well, do we ever know that those are actual spikes? I assumed, like, maybe with the rest of the stuff that they're, like, fake.
Well, but the movie doesn't go like they're fake. And I feel like if they
true.
were fake, the movie would tell us that.
Well, like, the axes were fake.
Yeah, I mean, Fred just holds a book up to it, and instead
Well-
of slicing him in half, it just
It,
knocks
like,
him
bumps
away.
him.
Yeah, the axes were actually dangerous. They just weren't.
Well-
They were able to avoid the axe danger.
Were they actually dangerous, though?
Yeah.
But, like, that axe would have killed Fred.
But
He
would
just
it
held
have?
the book.
In this movie, like, I don't think it would have.
I'm saying if they were...
If they were actually big axes.
I
Yes,
think if they were big axes, that's what would happen in this movie. I don't know.
Interesting. I see what you're saying.
Like, I think if you got hit by a big axe in this movie, but you blocked it with a book, you'd be okay.
You just go flying? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, it's not clear, so...
I mean, everything
lot
in this
of
movie, this
speculation.
movie's full of wires, and I don't mind wire work in this because it's goofy and silly. It's not like X-Men where it pisses me off. But I think that is like kind of the wire work. Because listen, I don't know what would happen if a book hit an axe hit a book, but it also hits him. It also, like, to be fair to it from a physics standpoint, hits him at almost the end of its swing, where it has the least force.
Right.
So he's in the least danger. Again, not saying that means that he's, you know, going to be safe, but I didn't hate that as a way to solve that problem.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I just was never very clear to me how much actual danger was occurring here.
Yeah, I'm with Diggins.
I feel like with most of their danger, it was like, well, okay, maybe it wasn't a real axe, but they were only in danger because they were not in the car. It seems like a car in that ride would have just gone through the things, you know? Like, it would have zigged and zagged out of danger. But with them, it's like they're outside of the car, so the ride doesn't know not to kill them.
Right.
Maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think?
No, I said it all, man.
Yeah. Okay. So then what do they learn? They got a bunch of shit in this place. There's so much stuff here. It's very important.
Yeah, so they learned that this is like they learn it's a training ground because the guy who was doing the voodoo fire show, they run into him.
No, incorrect.
Don't they? Don't they?
So,
Do they?
first thing they learn is Fred and Velma discover a
secret passageway. That's right.
they discover
Yeah,
a secret
place.
passageway up to like a control center where they find videos that seem to be teaching people how to act like American teenagers.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
And the videos are great.
The videos are actually really funny.
Oh man, yeah.
I love that. Like, that aspect of the movie was obviously my favorite. But, like, the whole, like, wasn't it silly how we all kind of acted in the in the olden, in the 2000s. Because it was, at its time, it was a parody of the 2000s, which was very kind of prescient of it.
It's very Josie and the Pussycats.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, that was a good show.
It's a good movie.
Wasn't it also a show?
It was also
Like
a very different show in like the 60s.
Yeah,
Was Rosario Dawson in that?
I want to say yes, but I don't remember.
Interesting. Well, either way, so they learn. So they meet the guy. They find that they also are introduced to the demon box thingy.
Yes,
The
Daphne
triangle.
finds the demon rights.
Millennium Puzzle. Oh,
yes,
sorry.
the
what's it
Millennium
called?
Puzzle.
It
finds
was
the
the
Millennium
Millennium
Puzzle.
Puzzle.
Daphne finds it in like a elaborate chamber that's part of this ride for some reason,
Yeah.
and she takes it.
And she takes it, and then they all scram, even though... So this is where Scooby and Shaggy, while all of this important stuff is going on, so Velma and Fred are learning about the re-education area, or the education area, and then Daphne is learning about this triangle. Shaggy and Scooby are in some sort of, like, cooking center.
They're
or something.
in the set from the training video,
Right, yes, right.
which no
And
one
then
ever
they
comments on, but is where they are.
That makes sense. And what did they do there? DJ, can you explain this scene while I go grab a drink? This is the most important scene in the movie, if I'm to say anything about it.
So, why am I having trouble remembering the scene?
Diggins, you can do it.
Oh,
No.
okay, Diggins, you
What
got it.
happens?
I don't want to.
Do it, Diggins, do it.
So
Start me off and then I'll go. I just need like a memory jog.
So Scooby and Shaggy are like walking in this kitchen. They're like, "Whoa, far out, man!" And then Scooby burps.
Oh, yes. Oh, man. Right, that's fine. So, I'll take it over. So, yeah, Scooby burps, and then Shaggy's like, "Oh, nice one, dude. Is that a challenge?" And then I believe Shaggy burps, and then Scooby farts, and then it's the worst farting competition of all time. It is like, and it goes on. It goes on for, I want to say, like 2-3 minutes of just ridiculous farting by Shaggy and Scooby.
Yeah, one of the farts is just like Shaggy doing a bunch of dance moves, kind of, and farts come out.
He like eats gas and then it like he moves it through his body. Almost
Yeah, he
like
burps
he's doing this...
into a fart.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Sucking in air is good. Yeah, that was super dumb.
I liked it. There was something about it that was so silly I did enjoy it, but maybe that's just me.
I didn't care for it.
DJ,
My
come on,
thing.
you fart, right? You're a farter.
I do fart, but I wouldn't feature it in a movie.
You wouldn't feature.
I guess
it
I'm
in a
no
movie.
James Gunn.
I guess not, because he loves his farts and his poop
really
jokes and
does.
stuff. You know, if any of the Guardians of the Galaxy farted,
I don't think so. Just like just
they talk
Rocket
about
doesn't-
Drax's turds at one point.
yeah.
I bet they have. We've probably all blocked it out of our memory.
Rocket's like, oh, who farted?
Yeah, right. That sounds about right. But yeah, then Daphne's like, "You, Shaggy," and then she's like, and then they all jump in armors to hide, and then he farts in the armor, but then it's fine. That was
Yeah,
weird.
totally fine.
So then they go to a bar and try to figure out what's going on, and who to our wandering eyes should appear but the monster that we have not, I forgot to talk about this, tempted Scooby-Doo with hamburgers in a scene I love. At one point, so we have to, like I said, there was one really good joke in this movie. At one point...
This was before they go in the amusement park, yes.
But at one point, Scooby has met Scooby has an interaction with these, like, giant gremlin thingies. And he gets a call from the bar while Shaggy is hanging out with the girl, Mary Jane, who is, like, different, like, kind of, oh, he's spending time with her instead of me. Like, Scooby-Doo doesn't really have this thought, kind of, but in another movie he would. And Scooby gets a call, and it's like, I have a call. The bartender says, I have a call from Mr. Doo. And then one guy stands up and goes, I'm Melvin Doo. And he's like, no, it's Scooby-Doo. And Scooby-Doo's
Not you,
like,
idiot.
yeah, I'm
Sit the
Scooby-Doo.
fuck
And he
down,
gets the
Melvin.
phone call, and the phone call is like, hey, there's some hamburgers in the forest. And then Scooby-Doo is like, whoa, awesome. And he goes, and he finds the hamburgers, and they're not hamburgers, but then he accidentally kills a monster, kind of.
And right before this, he got like like dumped by Shaggy, right?
Not really.
Like,
Shaggy
yeah.
was just like paying attention to Mary Jane, and then Scooby kind of wanders off on his own.
Yeah, it's not
Okay,
as dramatic
alright.
as I would expect it to be.
Right.
But we know it is, kind of, because we've seen movies. Like, people that have seen movies are like, oh, okay, she's driving a wedge between Scooby and Shaggy, and that's going to be some tension. And later in the movie, it is, like he says, like, I have been a really good friend to you. But you're like, I don't know if that's true.
Well, when
You guys were pretty good friends.
When Scooby
There's
comes
one bit-
back, Shaggy hasn't seen the monster, and so Scooby's like, "Oh, there's a monster." Oh, that was a bad Scooby. Oof. That was
Yeah.
Scabby Dab.
Scooby Dooby Doo.
And Shaggy's like, "Oh, there's not a monster, Scoob. Calm down. You're embarrassing me in front of this hot lady."
Well, Shaggy sees the park mascot that is like some sort of rabbit head thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like it was like Dead Mouse before Dead Mouse, but like
Exactly.
really long.
Yeah. It seems like something that if you saw it today on a kid's shirt, you'd be like, "Oh, that's cool." Kids think this is cool. I don't, but that's what kids think. So then the monsters kidnap most of the main characters, except for Daphne, Shaggy, Scooby, and Mary Jane.
Mary Jane.
Right.
You gotta
Can't
when
forget
you
it.
say Mary Jane, you gotta go Mary Jane.
Mary Jane. And they get Monster Various, they get Fred, and they get Velma. Do they get Daphne?
Not at this point. No.
Yeah, I think they will get her, though, eventually. So then our guys have to save them. And then we kind of get a sense that, like, this is the first time we get introduced to, like, hey, maybe everybody's all kidnapped and stuff and, like, mind controlled. And this is where the cameo of the movie shines. I'm sure at the time, biggest stars in the film, Sugar Ray, are zombies.
Oh man.
That's pretty great.
So this is like, yeah, so Scooby, Shaggy, Daphne, and Mary Jane wake up on the beach the next morning, and like everyone's back, and it's like nothing weird happened last night, and they're
That's
like, what's
right.
going on? Except 20 seconds into them being like, what's going on? Daphne sees Sugar Ray's eyes glow green, and she's like, oh no, they're monsters. And then all the monsters are like, they know we're monsters, get them.
And Sugar Ray is playing a song. I don't know that much Sugar Ray music, but I'm pretty sure the song is like, if you let them transform you into a monster. Like, it's not one of the Sugar Ray songs you know and love. I'm pretty sure it's one they wrote for this movie about the plot of the movie. So even better. So yeah. And then they run away and stuff. It's really good. I don't know. I feel like we're pretty close to the end. How's this movie end? There's a whole bit with body switching that's really strange.
Oh god.
That's one thing that I forgot about in the original version of this movie. Although I did like Fred flirting with Fred, because at one point, first I was watching Turn With Me, and they were like, does Fred want to fuck himself? And I was like, yeah, I guess he kind of does. Because at certain points, everybody's ectoplasm is switched with each other, and there's a secret passage.
No. Protoplasm.
Protoplasm,
Plasma,
sorry.
whatever.
What is protoplasm? Let's go.
I don't know. The movie never tells you. They just say it, and then that's
A
it.
colorless material comprising the living part of a cell.
It's your soul. in this movie,
Or
it's fucking
that,
soul.
yeah.
Oh my god.
I bet it means something different when you're talking about, like, ghosts. Yeah, it has different meanings in different circles.
Well, in Danny Phantom, it was ectoplasm or plasma.
Yeah, I
something
mean,
like that.
and I think in Ghostbusters it's also ectoplasm.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah.
This movie was too cool for that shit.
And they
Go
nailed it.
protoplasm. Whatever.
And then what?
So can I say one thing about the body switching scene?
Oh, yes. For
So
sure.
like Shaggy releases, he frees all of the protoplasm from this vat of like all these, just call them souls. They're souls, that's what they are. The weird part is, right, so he picks out his friends, I forget the order, and he's looking for, I think the last one's like, I forget who, but he's picking out other people, and they're like, oh, thanks for saving me. He's like, nah, JK, I gotta find my friend, and puts him back in. Just free all of them, right? Just start flicking all of them to their bodies, right?
Well, yes and no. I guess if someone were underground, it wouldn't work, right?
Dude, I don't know.
They need to be out of the sunlight, other's the monster would just eat them.
Oh, I see. Yeah, but he doesn't know that.
He
when
doesn't
he's putting
know
it,
that.
when he's
Oh,
putting
yeah,
it
no,
back,
he's just an asshole. He could tip over the whole thing right then.
Yeah, that's all it takes, right? A tip over.
Because when he finds Velma, he's like, Velma, what's up? And she's like, these are our protoplasm forms. Get us back to our bodies. the Millennium Puzzle has trapped us in the protoplasm, the shadow realm. We need you to get us to our bodies. So then, yeah, he like flicks them out, and then that's it.
Yeah, and then they meet up, but oh no, Fred and Daphne are in the wrong bodies. So they get around the Millennium Puzzle, and they're like, oh, our bodies are going to switch so they're all right. But why would the bodies switch of the ones that are already in their right thing? Like,
Good
why would it switch?
question. This
Second,
did bother me.
second point. So in the canon of this movie's universe, this is the first genuinely supernatural thing that the gang has ever encountered. And they're so blasé about it.
Yeah, that's true. Third point.
Third
Pretty sure
point.
Fred and Daphne have fucked at some point. Right?
Probably.
Wowie zowie.
Probably.
But when Fred goes into Daphne's body, his first thing is like, I get to look at myself naked. I'm like, you haven't seen her naked?
And-
Is that not part of it?
Velma's like, Fred, that's a profound violation of Daphne's privacy. Please.
Right.
You've got to stop before you get Me Too'd.
It's hard to me to him when he was he too. First, he was the two. It was me, if anything.
Also, generally speaking, I prefer when body switching happens that the actor tries to do an impression of the other actor rather than
Yes.
literally replacing their voice.
Yes. I mean, however, I think, what's his name? The body language of Fred, Daphne and Fred's body was pretty funny.
The body language, they did the body language well.
Freddie Prinze Jr. moving around was great. That might be my favorite part of his in the movie. Besides, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Because one of the things I wanted to highlight was some of the Scooby Doo mainstays. They all meet up. Backtrack a little bit. They all meet up in the castle accidentally, like the evil castle ride. And what does he say, DJ?
So he's like, oh good, we're all together now. Let's split up.
Yeah, that was fun. That got
I
a
like
nice
that.
giggle.
I like that.
What I was going to say before, by the way, is so when they all get like kidnapped and possessed by evil monsters here, it's very considerate of the evil monsters to have their new outfits still match the color coordination that they would normally have.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
Considerate.
if you wanted to be super, like, not like on point, but like if you wanted to really do what they're doing, nothing would be more telling than Velma not wearing orange. You would see her and immediately go like, she's brainwashed or something. Same with Fred and Daphne. So I get it. In fact, yeah, the monsters, they've thought this through. And you know what? Maybe the monsters know that that's what they should be wearing. Because maybe something about the monsters, like they've got a little bit of, they got a little background info.
Oh.
Yeah.
But where could they possibly have gotten such information?
I don't know. It's hard to say. It is hard to say because up until this point, I'm ignoring the one character that we can't talk about it, otherwise it spoils the fun. But yeah, how about this, guys? What's the story with once we have the body switchings, we've learned something about the monsters. What do we learn? It's very important.
They blow up when they're exposed to sunlight.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then it's like, okay, cool. And that's why she's like, oh, good. That's why that's why they're stealing our bodies. We've learned something we can exploit. So they come up with a pretty good plan that will totally work, where they free all the protoplasm and then they let in some light during some big ritual
First, they go to the voodoo man for no apparent reason. And they're like, what's going on? And he's like, the evil monsters want to summon the Darkopolypse, and that's going to make them a reign over the earth for 10,000 years. But to do so, they need a purely good soul.
And so, what? I don't know, man.
What's crazy is, like, we speed to the end of the movie from here, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a sprint to the end. So they figured everything out. Well, they haven't figured everything out. They figured out most things. Velma's like, they need a pure soul. And Fred's like, but where are they going to get a pure human soul? And she goes, Fred, you silly bitch. I didn't say human.
Yep.
And then we cut to Scooby being brought before the mastermind of the whole operation, which turns out to be Mr. Mongogerius.
Get the fuck out.
Oh, yes.
Damn it.
I love it. I love that we're bringing that word back. It's the best song in the movie. Probably. No, it's not. It's bad in the movie. It's good in the play. And he's like, so it's funny, Mongo Jerry he doesn't mince words pretty much. He's like, hey, Scooby-Doo, you're a good dog. You want to do a sacrifice? I'll give you a treat. And Scooby-Doo's like, okay.
All in, buddy. All in.
Yeah. Even though I was kidnapped, kind of, this seems about right. And Scooby-Doo's not smart, and I think that's fine. I like the idea that he's got just about the intelligence of a dog, kind of, but he's nice and he can kind of speak. But if you give him a treat, he'll do whatever you say. And then they put together this plan to steal Scooby-Doo during the ritual, and Scooby-Doo's getting, like, fed berries and, like, I guess probably Scooby Snacks or sandwiches on a litter by, like, sexy women.
Yeah, they're fanning him.
Yeah. And then the end starts. So we made it to the end of the movie. What happens in it?
So,
what do they do? What do we learn?
Well, so the gang devises a plan, right? They're like, all right, let's do this shit one more time. Save Scooby-Doo. So they have a very elaborate plan. I don't even know exactly what it entailed. I think it was like, because all of this ritual shit was happening underground, it was to like bust a hole in the sky and then get a disco ball to reflect the sunlight off onto all the monsters, and then they would die.
And they had to tip over the protoplasm.
Right.
Force the guys out, yeah.
So that was the plan. I forget how it happens. Daphne has an incredible wire fu sequence where she fights the luchador, who we haven't talked about at all somehow.
He's just a big old luchador.
Yeah, he's just
that's really his whole thing.
He's just a luchador who's like a minion in this plan who, for some reason, speaks with a thick accent and says random words in Spanish sometimes, even though all the monsters seem to have been receiving training and be acting as Americans. But I guess they made one special video to teach this monster how to look like he's a Mexican stereotype.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, so yeah, Daphne fights him.
Well, that's like, that doesn't come up until after the plan has already started going wrong.
True.
Because that wasn't part of the plan at all. Daphne was just supposed to open the air vents so that the sunlight could come in, reflect off the disco ball, and kill all the monsters after the protoplasm has, like, gone everywhere.
So what's the first thing that fucks up the plan?
Well, first...
Shaggy accidentally clips himself.
Yes.
Right.
That's fine. That's your classic shagginess.
Yeah. You know that's going to go wrong.
Yeah, so instead of tipping over the protoplasm, they, like, hoist Shaggy into the air.
Yeah. And then everybody else kind of gets dislodged from their thing and swings around.
Yeah, it's all foobar.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and then
then they die. They were eaten by Mr. Monteverdes.
End of movie.
Yep, the end of the movie. But no, then the cultists who are monsters start showing up. So Fred and Velma pretend to be part of the cult, while Shaggy like swings across the cavern and knocks out like a head cult man. And steals his clothes and pretends to be him.
Hitman style. Looks just like him.
While Daphne crawls her way up above the cavern so she can open up the vents.
That's right. And then they do all that stuff. They beat up Mr. Monstevarius, and they learn that, like, they convince Scooby-Doo to not be a sacrifice or whatever.
Shaggy finds Scooby, and he's like, listen, I'm sorry I've been a bad friend, but we're going to be a good friend now.
Also, at one point, they do a really cute bit where earlier in the movie, Scooby says "Rikes," and Shaggy's like, yeah, yikes. And Scooby's like, no, Rikes. And he means bikes. That was fun.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of, like, bits from Scooby-Doo. All right, who wants to take Monster Marius's bit?
I definitely want to do this. So
okay, let's do it. This is the whole movie right here.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, this is pretty much it.
And
this
if
is
you
the
don't want to
money
be spoiled,
shot.
don't listen to this. But
this
like,
is the only important spoiler in the movie.
And I'd almost say maybe check it out. Like, if you're already kind of into it, go watch the movie, and it'll be a fun little thing.
If you can deal with the extreme 2000s energy, then it's a fun movie.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Anyway, so Mr. Stradivarius is having all the protoplasm sucked into his chest via the demonitis, so he can get the demonic power and be an evil bad guy. But in order to complete the transformation, he needs Scooby's pure soul, which he almost gets, but Shaggy saves him. And then Shaggy, in the process of saving Scooby, knocks Mr. Stradivarius over and like knocks him out. And then Fred notices, like, oh wait, he's wearing a mask. It comes down to another bad guy in a mask, and he rips off the mask, and it turns out that he was a robot the whole time.
Whoa, what a solid robot.
Then the robot's chest opens up, and inside the robot is Scrappy Doo.
Yeah,
Fucked up, man. This is so fucked up.
Fucked up.
it's awesome. Now,
I would go with awesome, but yeah.
it's awesome.
So, this is clearly a reference, and many Scooby-Doo properties these days do this kind of, not to this extent, like literally making him the villain, but throw in a crack about Scrappy Doo, because Scrappy Doo is famously extremely hated by many people.
Yeah, what's the story with him?
Is he? I like Scrappy Doo. I'll come out there saying I like Scrappy Doo.
Scrappy
Of course
Doo...
you do.
Yeah, come on, DJ.
Oh, wow,
DJ
guys.
loves
Thanks
his
for all the
Scrappy
hate.
Doo.
Now that the fighting starts, here we go. Dukes are up.
Yeah. Everyone, tweet DJ, do or not do, at
That is the
Sippy by
question.
Day, just whether you like Scrappy Doo or not.
So,
Menchies are going to be blown up.
Also, dab or not dab for whether you think they should have named Scooby Doo Scooby Dab.
Scabby Dab.
Scabby Dab, sorry.
So essentially the thing with Scrappy Doo is a lot of people who were like children or fans of Scooby-Doo at the time that Scrappy Doo happened feel like he basically took over the show and caused big changes to the structure. Like Fred and Velma were dropped off the show for a while after he joined. And just otherwise...
Wait, just Fred and Velma?
Yeah, like there was a Scooby-Doo series that was Shaggy, Scooby, Daphne, and Scrappy, and that was it.
Oh my god.
That sounds terrible.
That's amazing. Those are the last 4 people I'd ever expect to hang out. Like,
Right?
It's like that episode of Seinfeld where George and Elaine hang out and they're just like, we gotta just shit on Jerry, right? That's what we do when we're alone because we're never alone together. I feel like Shaggy and Daphne is the weirdest pairing.
Right?
What if they're in love, though? Who knows?
Who can say? Anyway,
Who can say?
so Scrappy Doo has an extremely negative reputation. Like he's kind of the quintessential like character they add late in the show's run that everybody hates.
Right. He's your Poochie. That's what everybody thinks
Yeah.
of that guy.
Yeah. Poochie is basically making fun of Scrappy.
I did not know this. Because he was always like so positive on the show. He's like, my Uncle Scoob could do anything. Ba 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 ba.
It's like ba-da-da-da-ba-ba, puppy power. Whoa, we've got let me at him. And so on and such forth.
Throw him in the
brought some-
rub guy.
some big energy.
Awful.
He brought some big
I don't
energy.
know if Great Danes eat their young, but we might have to try.
Listen. The Scooby Doo is surprisingly strong.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen. I can do all the voices. I can do Freddie Prinze Jr., Velma, Daphne. 6 or 7 voices in this movie. Mr. Bean. Here's the thing I don't understand about Mr. Bean. So Mr. Bean shows, like, he's the bad guy, right? And he's just like, I'm the bad guy. I wanted to do Years of Darkness. That's not that crazy of a thing in this universe, so, that's what we're doing. And then they beat him, and he lands on the floor, and Shaggy very casually is like, just another man in a mask. I'm like, well, that's not what the rest of these were. These
Right?
guys were like big ghosts in masks. He's a guy. I don't think he's a guy in a mask pretending to be another guy. Like, that's an insane leap for you guys to take. Why would they pretend to be Mr. Stardomarius? Unless this one thing that it turns out to be. But, like, just assume it's him and just be like, oh, he's got, like, a skin thing.
Well,
but no, they're like, oh, let's rip off his face to reveal his true identity.
He could clearly see, though, that it was, like, totally ruptured and there was something underneath that wasn't, like, flesh.
Maybe they killed this
Yeah,
man.
there wasn't like blood coming out though. It's like
Yeah, maybe
like
it's
skin
ghosts.
separation.
Like, if you
I don't know, man. At this point, all bets are off.
Like, if you look at the scene, it's very clearly is a mask. So it's not a ridiculous assumption for Fred to be
I
like,
guess it's
guy's wearing a mask. Although,
I guess it's more that Scooby is like, just like always, a man in a mask, and not like, wait a second, this isn't the guy? Like, it's almost like they were always, like, if this was a regular Scooby-Doo episode, the conceit they would have had to have read up at this moment is, there's no such thing as Mr. Monster Marius. It's impossible. He's just a myth. And then they beat him up and his mask becomes revealed and they're like, I thought there was no Mr. Stradivarius, but it turns out he's just a man in a mask. But no, it's just a guy. Just a weird kind of friendly business owner.
did we
or
mention,
whatever.
by the way, the the flashback scene earlier?
No,
He
did not.
Did not.
Okay.
Couldn't do it. Otherwise, we'd give away all the funness. But now, I mean, we passed that. So yeah,
Right.
go for it.
So basically, earlier to set this up, Velma is in a bargain bin Dave Franco's second scene where they're like having a drink together. Velma is like talking about the old days, and then she mentions that Scrappy was there and he was really annoying and everyone hated him, and he pisses on Daphne, and that's when they finally decide to kick him out. Yeah, literally, he pisses on Daphne. And then Scrappy demands to be put in charge, so they kick him out of the gang.
I think this movie did Scrappy wrong.
I again have to emphasize that, like, it is a famous, like, trope that fucking everybody hates Scrappy.
Man, I did not know this. I did
I
not
think
fucking know this.
I love that they went in on this. Like, that they were like, you know what, the bad guy, Scrappy Doo. Like, fuck it. That's awesome to me. I don't know why. I think it's just so bold, you know?
It's bold.
It's like where what's his name turns out to be the bad guy in trying to think, like the Mandarin kind of, or trying to think of an equally crazy like twist bad guy. But I'll always take those over boring ones, because what would it have been? It would have been Rowan Atkinson as like a guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Just like, I mean, it's fine. Yeah. Honestly, the end part of this movie I thought was like the weakest part. I don't find it very interesting. It's like all like the fun bits are over. Like, we're just at the part of the movie where it needs to end, but it's not particularly like interesting or exciting.
Well, what was Scrappy Doo's plan?
I think it was exactly the same. It was that he was gonna absorb all the souls, including Scooby Doo's purely good soul, to become a massive demon monster and reign over 10,000 years of darkness.
Good
So,
plan, though.
like-
Good plan.
He would have like destroyed the world governments and stuff, and like fought all the militaries too.
Yeah, presumably.
Yeah, he would have been a big unstoppable dog.
That's awesome.
So, you know.
So, because he's absorbed most of the souls, even though he hasn't gotten Scooby's yet, as he's explaining that he wanted revenge on them, he starts transforming into a massive demon version of Scrappy Doo.
Yeah,
It's pretty gross.
It's awesome. It looks like the Hulk from the movie that came out 3 years later. And it sucks, but that's kind of what's awesome about it. It's so terrible. And it's like, I mean, it's very upsetting watching him turn into giant monster him. Because, like, his body grows and his head grows last.
Yeah, he's got like a giant... He's been doing a lot of roids.
The Millennium Puzzle is in his chest, like sits inside of it.
Yeah, he grows like a couple body parts at a time.
Yeah, that's right.
It truly is upsetting.
I loved it. I thought it was great. Like, I don't know. I thought it was great.
And then they defeat him by defeating him, you know.
They use crane powers.
Yeah, the crane power. Just get fucked, Scrappy Doo.
Yeah, so Velma...
Fred always
not
said it
Velma.
was a useless talent.
Daphne beats up the luchador in actually pretty good choreographed fight scene.
It was a badass wire fu fight.
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
Bouncy, but it's fun.
you don't get Sarah Michelle Gellar and then not have her do a fight scene. This is the height of Buffy.
Especially not
Yeah,
in
it's true.
gigantic, like, heels. Like, the outfit that she was wearing with those humongous, like, 70s style heels made it even more fun. She was kicking this dude right in the face. He's
Oh,
dead.
yeah.
But so
Fucking wrecked.
she beats him up and opens the vents by like kicking him through the vents.
Yep.
And then so all the monsters are being destroyed, and Shaggy manages to like pull the Millennium Puzzle out of Scrappy Doo's chest, which uncorks all the souls.
That's right, it does.
It basically fixes everything, right? Because they all just go back to their bodies.
Yeah,
And then all the monsters explode from the deep disco ball.
and Scrappy
Yes,
Doo
because Daphne manages to get her part of the plan correct, as it were.
and Scrappy turns back into his regular self.
Yeah, his
right.
regular annoying self.
Don't
They
you say
also,
that.
the movie does earlier in the flashback scene explain why Scrappy has not grown at all, which is that he's not a puppy, he just has a gland problem.
Is that canonical?
No, he is a puppy,
Oh.
canonically.
Oh my god. Oh man, silly movie. Silly
great.
silly movie.
And then what's the epilogue? The epilogue's pretty fun.
Well, they find
Oh.
Mr. Mimbobarius in like a vault underneath this cavern, because it turns
Yeah.
out he was a real guy who really owned this real island, and Scrappy just like made a robot duplicate of him and took the place over.
Yep.
Which is like batshit crazy.
Why did they all go to the island? Why didn't Scooby Doo just go?
Because Scrappy wanted to get his revenge on all of them and show that he was better than them.
It's funny because, like, Fred asks that question, right? He's like, why all of us? And Shaggy's like, doesn't matter, gotta go. It's like, Fred brings up a good point. Maybe you should think about it. Who have you offended?
But yeah, would they have gotten to it must be Scrappy Doo and a human-sized robot?
I assumed they were all pure of heart, but they weren't. It was really just everyone's like it was just Scooby, and the rest of them are all kind of dicks still.
I mean,
I don't generally nice.
I don't think Fred is pure of heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Daphne.
I would say Fred and Daphne are the least pure. I don't think there's anything specifically wrong with Daphne, but I mean, Velma and Shaggy are the two purest of heart.
Yeah, I mean, Shaggy does do, he does.
He makes food in a nice thing.
That wee.
You could argue Scooby suffers from gluttony, which is one of the 7 deadly sins.
That's true.
That's true.
So
yeah, how are we defining purity here to begin with?
That's true. I mean, he's pretty nice.
If you're nice, you're pure.
He seems nice. He seems like a nice dog. People like him. Very popular. Everybody's like, oh, Scooby Doo. He won our best pet bracket back in the day.
He did win our best pet bracket.
So, like, yeah, the people love him, the Scoob.
You know, there's a part of me that always still expects you to say, welcome to Mad Bracket status at the intro.
I must have done it once. It must have happened once,
yes,
and I'll never do it
yes.
again. I'd like to believe, but you never know.
It definitely happened somewhere in the archives.
Yeah. But okay, so then they free them. They're all like happy and friends now. Fred gives Velma credit.
Fred and Daphne kiss, even though the movie was clearly building up to a Fred and Velma romance up until this point. Then Velma doesn't kiss.
No, she like pushes him away.
Punches him. Yeah.
She does not kiss Bargain Basement Dave Franco, and also Shaggy does not kiss Mary Jane.
Mary Jane comes out of like hyper, being possessed. And see, the thing with Mary Jane is, I think Mary Jane was possessed the whole time.
See, I also thought that, but then she's like, "Oh, Shaggy," like she does know him, and,
right?
Like, they did spend time together. So
but there's no point when she becomes possessed.
I think it was when they separated after waking up on the beach, like how we don't see the moment of Daphne getting possessed either. So I think it was in that same general time frame.
But even then, when she's possessed, she doesn't act like the rest of them. She acts normal.
Right. She's trying to like trick them. But we're led to believe these monsters so don't know how to pretend to be human that they like need lessons to poorly put on an act that is nothing like the person's prior personality. And yet this Mary Jane monster not only knows everything that has happened with them before, but also is like able to use their pre-existing relationship to try to trick Shaggy and Scooby.
Right. I just don't get. And she and I think if you wind it back a little bit, none of the plans any of them have make any sense. But specifically in that moment, it's like, well, what's she up to? She wants to kidnap Shaggy and Scooby, right? It seems like she could.
I think she wants to get Scooby away from Shaggy so that they can get him to be the purely good soul. Like, I don't think they care about Shaggy.
So, like, could they have tied Scooby up to a rock and done this, or did he have to willingly be fooled into doing it? Because that's the only thing I'll kind of accept. Not only thing I'll accept, but, like, kind of what I expect is, like, they needed to create a reason why the band broke up because you couldn't just kidnap them all. But also, like, we haven't even kind of described, like, can we describe the monster guys for a second?
Yeah, they look like one of the monsters.
They're like big, skinny gremlins.
Yeah. And they're kind of goofy.
Yeah. They're kind of like a picture the Noid.
The Noid.
But instead of being like a human guy in a costume, he's like a rubbery, scaly gremlin.
There's even one part where, and they like breathe a gas on you.
Yeah.
And then that's what infects you.
They have like bad breath that knocks you out, and then they go kidnap you.
And I assumed that Shaggy would be immune to gas.
Which he is.
But like, not really. He kind of like, it still kind of knocks him down. I kind of wanted him to just spit it back in her face and be like, hee 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 hee.
Hey man, all the time, man.
Yeah.
He was like, did you think we had that extended farting sequence for no reason?
So good.
That was backstory.
What did you guys think of the music in this movie?
Oh, all time. The soundtrack
boy.
in this movie is all time.
So what is more of its time of a soundtrack? This movie or Bad Boys 2?
Oh
This.
my god, yeah.
Without
this.
a doubt, this.
Oh, what about the first Fast and Furious?
This. I don't think I've ever seen a movie this of its time.
I'm just saying specifically the soundtrack.
Yeah,
No,
the
I agree. Because it takes you back to a time. Like, I could hear, like, that, like, Bad Boys 2 thing. The awesome. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a good song. Or, oh, yeah, Bad Boys 2. Or even the same thing with Fast and Furious. But, like, this music brought me back to a time. I'm like, I am in the year 2002. I was, like, instantly teleported. And it was all kinds of music, too. Like, across genres.
And there was so much of it. Like, it was like every second or two there would be another song. And it was not well pushed together.
No. It's heavy in the beginning, and then they kind of taper off a little bit. But
There's like, do you remember there's one scene where they, they go to, like, they're in the, I guess this is in the end of the movie? Yeah, they're in the, I'm trying to remember, when is there the one chase between Scooby and one of the monsters in, like, inside of a house? Not the one in the, not the one in the forest, like a different one.
Is it right after the castle bit?
I don't think so.
I'm trying to think.
Wait,
yeah.
sorry. What are we trying to place?
At one point, Scooby has a chase, an extended chase with what's his name, with one of the monster guys. Mm-hmm. When is that?
That's that's the hamburgers.
No, after that, there's another one, and this one is set to music, and it's like this really awkward song.
It's like Scooby Dooby Doo. Where are you?
Oh well,
it's even worse.
That's when he's being chased by Scrappy. Is that one?
Yeah, this is different. This is like the song is like Voodoo Baby or something, and it's really specific to this. night.
Oh no, that's the night that Velma and Fred get kidnapped.
Okay.
There's also in that like weird bar area where they're hanging out, Scooby has an extended chase sequence with one of the monsters.
Gotcha. So yeah, that was quite strange. But I guess a musical bit. It was almost like a music video for that song.
And also
it could have
supposed
been.
to be leading us the wrong way because they're saying voodoo and that other guy was voodoo before, but this is just generic evil monsters and nothing to do with voodoo.
That's exactly
don't
right.
worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. And then in the epilogue is like they eat a bunch of hot sauce.
They eat a bunch of chili peppers.
Or chili peppers, right? Duh.
And there's this very, I don't want to say like, this is like a really cute thing where somehow all of the news media immediately got to Spooky Island.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like, what's next for the mystery gang? And they're like, fuck it. Or it was something very specific, like, what about the masked caper in the oil fields of Gradosha?
Yeah.
Well, listen, when those Coast Guard guys
I was
got
gonna
their
say,
souls
we didn't
back.
mention the Coast Guard.
So also when everyone gets kidnapped and Daphne, Scooby, Shaggy, and Mary Jane are like, what are we going to do? Mary Jane calls the Coast Guard to be like, evil shit's going down, please help us. Except it turns out the two Coast Guard guys have also been replaced with monsters.
Oh, no.
And they
I'm like, well, when did that happen? How deep
Right?
does this go?
listen, Scrappy's been planning this for a long time.
Cereal.
Seems like it. Like, what
He's
does
had
Mr.
2 whole
Monstroso do? Is he a theme park magnate?
I guess, yeah.
Okay, because he's up to some shit.
Well, but no, he's not, because actually it's Scrappy the whole time.
Right. But like when it's not just like he's like doing island stuff. He's seeding all kinds of different. It's a giant conspiracy that
Yeah.
Scrappy has created via Monstroso.
Everyone's in on it.
It's awesome.
The president been replaced with a monster by Scrappy.
That's why in the end of the movie everyone's head explodes. Scrappy Dappy Doo executes
imagine.
the protocol. I mean, listen, I like this one. I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was fun.
No, it's good. It's a good movie.
Yeah, I did. I really did enjoy it. I don't think it was like any good, but it was kind of fun. I don't know.
It's an enjoyable experience, and like I think for what it takes from the source material, it's like very good to it. Like every little thing with like the the references to weird food, the Scooby snacks, how like Daphne gets Scooby to be like, I'll give you a Scooby snack when they're about to go into the castle. Like all that stuff's good. Like it just feels good.
Yeah,
So, it's nice.
Scooby Doo's never been a franchise that took itself all that seriously, so I think it can afford to do one of these.
Yeah.
which is great.
Oh yeah, no, I think this movie's definitely worth a watch.
Oh,
What are you expecting from the
I do
next
want to
one?
say, so at the end, they're like arresting Scrappy Doo, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they have the one like tattooed dude who was giving the speech that Velma heard also being arrested with him. So was he not replaced with a monster? He was just down for this plan?
Yeah, I think
he's
so.
like,
But
I'm
also,
in for 10,000 Years of Darkness.
he was like a theme park employee too. Like he wasn't like a island native as well. It seems like it just seems like he was recruited as part of the theme park. You know what I mean?
So
Yeah.
when Scrappy replaced Mr. Bingleberrius, did he like go around to every theme park employee and was like, "Hey, are you down for some evil shit?" And like, that guy was like, "Hell yeah!" And so he.
I think
got
a
to
lot
be
of them
minion.
were.
Or was he like, I'm your boss, you do what I say, or you're fired. You're going to be like that weird voodoo guy, so you better get with the fucking program.
Yeah, it was pretty
I don't know.
wild.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, what do you guys expect from the next one? DJ, have you seen the next one?
No.
Yeah, I feel like it would be cheating for me to answer this because I remember the next one.
Me too. So DJ, what do you think's going to happen? Where are we
Honestly,
going with this?
I'm expecting something way worse for some reason. I don't know why, but I am.
Like
Well,
I
you're
said,
gonna
the
be
next one is the one people
profoundly
like more.
Disappointed.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like actually good?
I don't know about actually good, but
It's good in the way this one's good.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Well,
it's equally like kind of cheesy, but the premise is a little different. And I mean, this movie we have spent getting the gang back together, so you'd have to assume in this next one the gang is at least kind of together.
I would assume so. I don't think you could do another gang breakup.
Exactly.
That'd feel weird as fuck.
So like that's fun.
Yeah.
All right, you guys want to get to our classic segments?
Would love to.
I would love that.
All right, DJ, you got anything to recommend to the fine people?
I do, but it involves me breaking the cardinal rule of this show and recommending
no.
another. I know.
I'm sorry.
I
Well, you
know.
can't. So I guess we'll have to move on. Diggins,
All right,
do you have
Diggins.
anything to recommend to the fine people?
Why I do.
No. DJ, fine. I'll let you recommend a podcast just this once.
All right, let me go with like 2 recs. So, all right, first rec because I don't want to upset the council.
I would hate it if you did.
I'm gonna go with XCOM Chimera Squad. So it's like this little game in the XCOM franchise, if you know what that is. Tactical, tactical game, turn-based combat deal where you operate, a bunch of different soldiers with different abilities, and you fight bad guys. I'm explaining this poorly. I'm sorry.
You should be.
I should be. Look up like the XCOM franchise series, whatever, if you're like confused. But yeah, they released a new game. It's like not big, but it only costs like $20, and it's like much smaller scopes. Usually XCOM, you're like dealing with an alien invasion on a larger scale. And I don't want to say what the premise of this game is to like spoil anything that happened in the other games, but it's just they shrunk the scope, and you're in like a city now, and you operate Chimera Squad. So yeah, it's a fun game. If you like tactical based games, it's something to play.
DJ, I have a very important question for you about this game.
Yeah.
Are you one of the filthy degenerates who wants to fuck the snake?
I do not want to fuck the snake. Get out of here, Diggins.
I gotta look up this snake now.
Disgust me.
Listen, there's a lot of them, and I had to be sure.
All right. Well, be sure. No, that's not me. So
Nando's like, oh, I might be one of those degenerates.
Yeah, listen, I don't want to... XCOM snake. Let's see. All right, I don't want to fuck the snake. Sorry, guys.
all right, great. So that's my one rec. The
Nothing
other rec.
against you guys that do. Hey, listen, it's fine. Do what you gotta do.
The other rec I'm going to make is for a podcast, and I don't feel bad because they're like a small podcast, so like I don't feel bad like telling people about them. So it's called COVID Daily News, and
I wonder what it's about.
So this guy Nate Duncan, who he is a basketball writer and reporter. Since there was no basketball, he's like, I'm going to do a COVID podcast. He's actually really, really good. So him and this guy Ben Taylor. They every day they do just like a roundup of like stories like regarding COVID, domestic and international, and it's nice because it's just like one place to go and listen, and I don't really look at much other stuff because they're really comprehensive. So I found it a good tool instead of having like multiple podcasts in different places to go for the shit. I've just kind of had this one podcast, and I found it to be nice to just have like one thing, and that's like my source, and they're very, very, very good. So yeah, COVID Daily News. That's my forbidden recommendation for recommending another podcast.
Cool. Diggins, you have anything to recommend to the fine people?
I do. I have one big rec and then one small rec. My big rec is I rewatched one of my personal favorite movies and also one of the greatest movies ever made recently. So I wanted to just recommend that for the people out there in case you've never seen it. Just know it's a sublime masterpiece and well worth your viewing time.
Oh, I'm so excited. What is this?
I speak, of course, of Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, sure.
It's a good movie.
Kung Fu Panda is an excellent movie. If you haven't heard of it, if you've lived a sad Kung Fu Panda-less life up until this point, it is a 2008 film starring Jack Black as Po, a panda who lives in the Valley of Peace, working at his dad's noodle shop. But he loves Kung Fu, especially the Kung Fu masters who live in the Valley of Peace, the Furious Five.
That's right.
But he, one day, when their master Oogway is going to pick the Dragon Warrior, the fated champion, who will save them from all matters of Kung Fu disaster. And Po decides, even though his dad wants him to stay and, sell noodles, he's like, I've got to go see that. I love Kung Fu so much. And the story goes from there, gentle listener. And you'll be happy to know that in addition to being very funny, it's also deeply heartfelt and incredibly well plotted. This isn't a joke. This isn't a bit. Kung Fu Panda is one of the most seamlessly plotted movies I have ever seen, and that is a big part of why I love it so much. It's also got genuinely stellar action choreography for the fighting, because there's lots
the
of
bridge
Kung Fu
fight
fights.
Is amazing.
It's so good.
And what's his name escaping the prison is amazing.
Tai Lung escaping the prison is like stellar.
Mm-hmm.
That scene is incredible. So yeah, if you've never seen Kung Fu Panda, you should absolutely watch that movie. It is a revelation. Genuinely one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's super funny. And not in just a Jack Black skilly-doo-doo-doo way. It's a very, just, good comedy movie. Which, how many of those are there these days?
Is there some strange reason that I don't understand for you not liking the third movie?
It's just not that good. It's just
okay. It's not for some bizarre reason like xenophobia or something like that. Why you don't like the third movie?
Well, listen.
Just want to make sure.
Oh, like How to Train Your Dragon?
I think if you rewatch How to Train Your Dragon 3 after we've had our conversation, you will agree with me that it's about genocide.
It's not.
It is, though.
I don't think it's about genocide.
Okay, it's not about genocide.
That's not the point you were making, I don't think,
They didn't
right?
sit down. No, I mean, I'm presenting the most cartoonish possible version of my view on that movie. For
most movies
for
are about
comedy
genocide.
laugh reasons. Anyway, my second rec is that if you can, and this is going to be a hard one. This might be our most inaccessible rec ever, but
ooh, exciting.
But if you can do this, I would highly recommend it. It was the highlight of my week. You should definitely watch DJ set fire to his own kitchen over a live stream.
Oh, fuck. You can't find
Very good. Very good.
Oh, it's a real thing that happened to me. I got to watch DJ do that.
Were you scared for him, or were you just like, he'll be fine, but this is so stupid?
I was scared for him because the fire was on camera. I saw a fire flare up, and I was like, oh my God. But luckily, Michelle was there to take care of it.
Do you guys have a fire extinguisher?
We do.
Is it a good one?
I mean, it worked.
It put out the fire.
Nice.
It wasn't no bullshit.
Everybody needs fire extinguishers, man.
Guys, I just got to the arresting scene, and the luchador has also been arrested. So that wasn't a monster trained to be a Mexican stereotype. It was just a real luchador who decided that 10,000 years of darkness under Scrappy Doo was cool.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, if you're going to get a good, situation, probably a fun place to be. Seems like Scrappy Doo's probably a pretty generous manager. Good bonuses, time off, stuff like that.
If he's treating you, good so far, then, no reason to stop.
Exactly.
Anyway, those are my 2 recs for the week: Kung Fu Panda and watching DJ set fire to his own kitchen.
Thanks.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to wreck a couple things. First one, I shared this in the chat. Apparently, Disney is making masks.
Of course,
we've
they
gotten to
are.
that point in this, and they are like Disney-branded masks. And
This is
they're
the most
like,
predictable shit in the world.
right? So everybody get your Disney masks. Just kidding. I mean, don't, whatever. It's fine. So
If
two
you
things I want to
one, do
recommend.
it, but
What'd you say?
if you want one, do it. But
I mean, it's like they're not great. None of them are amazing. Honestly, if I were just getting one for fashion, the Marvel one's kind of cool, but it's a little much. Anyway, so 2 things I want to rec. First one, there was a stream this weekend that was amazing, or not even this weekend, I guess, on like Monday, for May the 4th, where I'm gonna mess up the name. I want to say Connor Ratliff and Griffin Newman, so 2 comedians who have a show called the George Lucas Talk Show, did a stream where they did their show pretty much and watched all of the Star Wars movies, I believe including the Christmas special and something else, but not the animated Clone Wars movie, and it's really interesting. It's just really fun to watch it. Don't know if you can still watch it, but they had a bunch of famous people on. I believe one of the McElroys was on it. Paul Scheer showed up. It was a lot of great stuff. So it was my way of like celebrating Star Wars. Oh, you know what? Extra rec. Last episode of Rebels, I enjoyed it. I don't watch that show, but it seems fun. Like it was a good what happened during the episode was good. So it seems like overall the show is also probably good. However, I haven't watched all of it, so I can't wreck it. So here we go. I was wondering, what do you think the Quibi show I'm going to recommend is? What's the one people like?
the Quibi show that from what I hear, everyone agrees is actually quite good and uses the medium well is the Reno 911 show.
Oh, yeah, Reno 911 is fun. That's not what I was going to wreck, but that is fun, too, yeah. And, yeah, no, I that's a good point. Quibi, Reno 911, yeah, wreck that, too. I watched the Anna Kendrick show. I finished it. I enjoyed it. It's about a girl...
Has the beef been squashed?
Between who?
Between you and Anna Kendrick?
Oh, I have no beef. DJ's the one with the beef.
This is a DJ-based beef.
I've always
Okay,
been a fan.
no. Last time... I said that DJ had beef with Anna Kendrick, and he was like, no, I never said I had beef with Anna Kendrick.
No, I did say that.
Yeah, he did.
I
Go back
know
and listen
you
to the
did,
podcast.
but you
Yes,
said
I
you
did.
didn't earlier.
Oh, my God. Go back and listen, and I'm like, oh, man. Because you say, Nando, don't you have a beef? I'm like, no, that's me. I have the Anna Kendrick-based beef.
Okay.
Anyway, I like Anna Kendrick, and I think she's good in this. It's a show about a guy, or a writer, who her boyfriend is pretty much... what's his name? Dan Harmon. I believe he is explicitly named Dan Harmon. And he has a sex doll, which the girlfriend meets one day at his house when he's not there. And it starts talking to her, and they form a relationship, like a friendship. And it's pretty good. It's like it's adult and stuff, the way you would expect. But I think, I don't know, I'm sure if it was a show on HBO or something or Netflix, we'd all be like, I liked that. It's called Dummy. So yeah, that was kind of fun. Yeah, so honestly, I've spent more time on Quibi than I have on a lot of other apps, and I'm still digging it.
So how much money are you getting paid by Quibi?
What'd you say?
How much money are you getting paid by Quibi?
Yeah, you're getting that straight
$0.
Quibi
And I have
cash.
paid them
No.
$0. I would love
That-
them to give me money.
So it's more
There's
of
no
an
way.
in-kind contribution thing then.
Yeah, exactly. This is no, it's very just a very fun service that is probably not worth it, but a free trial is good. And I would say definitely give the free trial a shot and see how you feel. Because besides the Golden Arm and the game show about the gay game show, whatever it's called, but just call it that. That is fun. And then you got this Reno 911, which is great, which I used to love Reno 911 when I was younger and it was on TV. And then the Dummy show is also fun. So there's stuff there. It's not as much of a complete disaster as I kind of assumed it would be. I imagine at a certain point this is probably going to have to break, you know? But, like, they have so many shows with so many famous people. Has ever a one of these folded with all of this stuff on it?
Yeah, man, CISO.
But did CISO really make it that far?
CISO was around for a while.
I do remember CISO. I don't even know how to spell C, so I wasn't even close. There's 3 S's. But, yeah. So, anyway, interesting stuff. That's all I got. Anybody got anything to plug?
No, sir.
Nah, nothing this week.
Cool. Same. Videos and stuff, but nothing exciting. Nothing, like, new. I mean, they're exciting, but nothing new. Oh, wait, yeah, no, video. By the time this is out, this episode is out, there will definitely be a video on my channel with familiar faces. So everyone should go watch that. Or not faces, voices and faces. That's all I got, though. Next week, what are we doing?
Scooby Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed.
Scooby Dooby 2, Where Are 2?
Scooby Dooby
2004.
2.
Scabby Tabby Tab. That's the best part of the episode. I mean, people have gotten this far, so they know. But, man, that was funny. Until next week, I am at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Woo!
Bye. We love you.
We love you. Scooby Dooby Doo.